everyone. I'm going to start with a wow. I think that, right, you're supposed to use power words to start off here.
Is that a power word?
I'm not sure.
It's a word of confusion.
You're thinking of it. It's an Owen Wilson word is what you're thinking.
Wow. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I confused it with Joey Lawrence, which is whoa.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Power words.
Get with the times. I think, my Owen Wilson is only like 15 or 16 years old, whereas your Joey Lawrence is more like, 22?
He's doing ads for some sort of cable service or streaming service with Vince Vaughn, which I imagine if you're a teenager turning on the TV, you're like, who are these guys and why were they the most powerful dynamic box office duo for a decade running?
Yeah. Why do I need a walk-in tub again? I don't know. All right. Anyway, I'm Michael J. Nelson. With me, of course, Conor Listoka. This is 372 pages. We'll never get back. We are at the final reading of 4 of a book called, and again, heavy scare quotes around book. I say again because we said that before we started recording. Sorry about that. This is called The Mayor of Noobtown. By Ryan Rimmel. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Rimmel?
As far as I know, yeah. I'm sure we'll be hearing an interview with him on CBS Sunday Morning soon, or maybe some sort of industry award ceremony where he's presented with a golden key to publishing somehow. But
yes, he's got the tux on and it's just like got just awards like bristling in his hands. Like, yes, I, Ryan Rimmel, accept these awards with pleasure. And the audience just standing ovation for 25 minutes. That's what I imagine will happen.
Yeah, you have previous Titans, Sue Grafton is bowing down to him. You have Clive Cussler shining his shoes as he takes the stage. And he's just spitting with contempt on them as he delivers his speech.
He chases them away. He's got one of those like Patton, little horse prods that he's just like, get away from me. John Irving, get the hell out of here. Toni Morrison.
Yes, sir.
Of course, sir.
I'm sorry, sir. I wish I had not made eye contact, sir.
But this book is, of course, a lit RPG book. Again, every time I use the word book, just imagine scare quotes around it.
Or lit, for that matter, yeah.
Yes, this is a walkthrough of a game, I guess, written down.
A printout of a document from Game Facts circa 2001 detailing the correct boss order for Mega Man. That's what this is, but it is sold inexplicably tens of thousands,
trillions of copies,
and hundreds of thousands of
and
copies.
Everyone who's read it, sometimes like Clorox, right? It's been around forever. Some people will be like, ruined my pan, 1 star. Not this book. Everyone who has it is more than thrilled. Like, I cannot believe how good this book is. Could I give it 6 stars? Like, no, I'm sorry, we have a system. Can I give it 100 stars? No, again, I'm sorry.
There is going to be a press conference photo of Jeff Bezos shaking Ryan Rimmel's hand as he announces the 6-star tier that certain books have unlocked with their universal praise. It is like one of those mass hysterias, mass delusions that sweeps
moral panic,
European countries.
Yeah.
What was that?
Moral panic is another word for it.
Oh, well, sure. I was thinking of like, what was the dancing panic?
The dancing thing, yeah. That was, some call it a moral panic. Right?
Oh, okay.
But yes, just a mass hysteria. No one knows why. Everyone just starts dancing. And everyone was reading this book, and everyone is giving it over-the-top praise. Like, never before in all of writing. James Joyce, go to hell. Literally go to the gutter in Dublin and eat the garbage out of the gutter because you suck compared to Ryan Rimmel's lit RPG book, The Mayor of Noobtown.
And in fact, the praise and the sales and the, let's face it, proximity to the runaway best-selling success of Dungeon Crawler Carl were enough that we revealed in last episode that The book is going to be, it was previously only an ebook on Amazon. It will be published in paperback by HarperCollins later this month, probably next week. And so you will be able to find it in your local free libraries, in airports and all that. And a listener named Carson wrote in to inform us, and this is delightful. This is, I think, proves just about how seriously HarperCollins is taking this. As they're just being like, yep, we can turn on this spigot and some money will come out of it. We do not care how good it is. Are we going to go through and fix the periods that should be commas in this book? Probably not. I can't wait to see if that's the case.
But, a lot of questions for the editors at HarperCollins, but those remain to be seen.
Funny you should mention that. Carson mentions, you will either be thrilled or deeply disappointed to know that Ryan Rimmel's official author bio on the HarperCollins website includes not one, but 2 obvious typos. Here's a screenshot and the link if you want to experience, or should I say, experience it yourself. And so, you know what, two typos on an author bio? You can imagine, you mentioned James Joyce's bio, John Irving's bio. Those probably include all the awards, all the acclaim they've gotten. This is a 2-sentence bio that manages to include 2 different typos. I'll read it to you. Wow. Ryan Rimmel is an American author of the lit RPG series The Mayor of Noobtown, which blends humor, fantasy, and player drive story elements to create a unique reading experience.
Oh boy.
So player-driven and experience, somehow both misspelled. But then I found this interesting, the next sentence. In his spare time, he sits on the board of the Pittsburgh Philharmonic and hosts a rotating lecture series on great philosophical debates.
Oh, my God.
No. The actual sentence is, he's also an avid gamer and 3D printing enthusiast. So that tracks a bit more than I think what the...
He is the leading Wagner scholar for the symposium.
Yes, he enjoys deep philosophical discussion over his port and walnuts in his salon at night. But nope, gaming and 3D printing. That tracks more.
Man, panicked. Slight panic there.
Would you like to read one listener's defense of the rest of the series?
I am looking for a defense here.
Okay.
I'm gonna play my cards up front. Not a fan of this. Now, that's the premise of the show. So before people get bent out of shape, just remember that's the premise. And I've said repeatedly, this is not for me. So, it's like if I suddenly wrote a book, I think we mentioned this last time, on psychoacoustics, and I just went at great length about, like, the how the ear and the pinea change the sound from, it depends upon which room. People would go like, go to hell. So but other people would be like, this was what a refreshing way to present material that we all know. So those caveats are all there. So now continue.
Yes, but the amount of acclaim and the fact that this is going to be published, and the fact that other people in our circles are recommending Dungeon Crawler Carl, this isn't psychoacoustics. This is a broad, I don't know. So anyway, here's a listener who's written in before. So someone, with good enough taste that they like the podcast, they've written to us before, but this is their defense of the rest of the series. Mm-hmm. Gunther is the name. While you've been struggling through book 1, I've actually managed to turn my brain off and hammer through the rest of the series as it currently stands, the end of book 8. His writing does not get a lot better. Later additional viewpoints are exhausting. And he continues to sabotage every single scene that could have an impact with terrible jokes. But
okay, sense that was coming.
There's one reason I'll have to put Noobtown above Klein's garbage. So I guess this is less a defense than clearing a low bar. There are black characters, there are gay characters, there are gender fluid characters, and they are never the butt of any joke. When a refugee crisis hits Noobtown in books 2 and 3, Jim, against the wishes of everyone, insists that every refugee be taken in. This does not turn into some backhanded lesson about being too trusting. After a traumatic event at the end of book 4, he decides he needs to be a heartless ass, but throughout book 5, he realizes he simply can't do that. So Rimmel may be an incompetent writer, but he seems to be a good person at heart. There is the... He read. Keep in mind, he read 7 more books of this, and that was the best he could do as a defense. This guy seems to be nice, so
some cheap moral posturing with which this person happens to agree. But I mean, that again, very, very low bar.
It's a low bar.
Because if you disagreed with it, you'd be like, "What a piece of garbage," you know. So there's no, what I'm saying is just because, well, never mind. I don't.
Sure. Yeah,
I don't want to get into it.
It's but yeah, the writing does not get a lot better is my takeaway from that.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the writing. Is that wrong of me while reading a book to look at the writing? It could be. It could be that I'm looking at it wrong way. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's get to the writing because
the plot up to this point, I think I can do it fairly quickly. Our hero Jim gets hit by a truck and ends up in a video game. In the past, he had, in his life, I guess, he had a wife and children.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably was driving them to soccer practice or whatever. But then AI made an artwork of him, and he's 20 years old, 18? I don't know. Don't know how this works. Anyway, he runs around killing goblins and leveling up and getting mana and eating herbs and killing wolves. And that's the plot.
That is, yeah. You mentioned the killing goblins, and I was like, did he kill? I guess, yeah. Oh, he did spend some time killing a few goblins in this reading we've done. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot there to add. Oh, he has a demon companion named Shart.
Oh, yes. Who's at present some mostly invisible orb on his shoulder, but then can also kind of move and hide and get stuck in trees by his horns. But he's a baby, but he's a ball. I don't understand the physicality, or I understand nothing about Shart or his goals. He's trying to get to some demon gate.
Well, as the defender of the series just wrote into us, he's not a very good writer. So those concerns you have are shared by other people. So yes,
so
Shart
please don't judge him on his writing, because, as I've said, he's not a good writer.
But Shart is attempting to level up so he can get to a demon gate, and then I guess they figure that out when they get there. He needs to get back to there for his motivation that he needs to get back there, and I guess that's expanded probably in the later books, because none of that's resolved in this one for sure.
No, and there are other characters, but trust me, they're not. There's no reason to bring them up. He's going to rescue some characters, but
sure.
Please take no time thinking about them.
Sure, you get occasional one-word descriptions of them, and if there's a woman, you can expect that she will be hot. So that's about as deep as it gets here. It starts with Chapter 18, to the Western Gate Fortress, which is where he was headed at the end of the last section. And you were quite puzzled about what the Western Gate Fortress was. It just seemed to sort of spring into the plot of the book as you could describe it. And then it seemed like a place he really needed to get to, because that's where the Goblin King lives.
Yes, that was, I believe I last time said that the Western Gate Fortress was first mentioned at least 3/4 of the way through the book. So, okay, so there is a fortress. I just wanted to hit you right out of the gate with a hilarious joke.
Yeah.
Because remember, this, more than anything, as we've been told by many, many 5-star reviews, is how funny this thing is. And we're comedy writers. That's what intrigues us.
We try.
This is so funny. So I'm going to throw this one on you and see if you laugh. And I'm not going to pull any tricks. I'm just going to read it as a joke. If one wonders how someone sprints with a 50% movement penalty, the answer is poorly. No?
Where's the... I mean... Oh, it was the entirety of the joke.
I'll try it one more time, and I'll put a little spin on it.
Okay.
If one wonders how someone sprints with an 80% movement penalty, the answer is poorly. Did that help at all?
See, that does help. I think a lot of people have praised the narrator of the audiobook here, and if it was Neil Hamburger reading this entire thing, I might get me to come around.
Be on board. Okay, all right. Anyway, all right. There
I
you go.
hadn't wondered how someone sprinted with 50%. It hadn't really occurred to me, and once you brought it up, I wasn't really interested. But that's good.
That's right out of the gate. That's the sentence 2 of chapter 18.
Yeah, he's sprinting towards the western gate fortress. When he finally makes it there, even despite that 50% movement penalty, he gets this sentence, which I think is it's very encapsulates the writing style of this guy, which is throw in some additional phrases you've heard just to sort of make it seem smarter. I think is how he does it.
Oh, okay.
The fortress itself was only marginally maintained and was basically surviving on the fact that it was large and made of well-crafted stone. It stood nearly 80 feet tall on the western side, which was a wall with the makings of a portcullis in it. Mm-hmm. And tossing in the makings of is just is big red pen for that one. If what you're trying to describe is a portcullis, you can just say that there is a portcullis in the wall. It's hard to imagine what the makings of a portcullis would be if it hadn't actually assembled to be a portcullis.
Well, I've often wondered, they talk about like the great cathedrals being built and it took like 200 years. So if you were there at year 170, like the makings of a flying buttress, like, okay, what would that look like? I'm not really sure. Before that, though, I have another joke for you.
Oh.
Fortunately, when I leveled, I gained some additional hit points. The 50 that I'd earned were added to the mix, making me healthier than a horse. I meant that literally. I could see a horse through the gate, and it only had 60 hit points. Her name was Patches.
Boom! Audience goes nuts. It's like the crowd at the Apollo standing, like dancing in the aisles.
I have to keep reading this. The editor at HarperCollins. This is what I was looking for.
The audience just it's his catchphrase. So, her name was Patches. Woo!
New York Times literary editor is like, yes, why can't I get more sentences like this?
He's talking to Shart about what he has found here, and they do a little callback to something that was it was part of our game show. Is that a joke? Mm-hmm. Last time, where we weren't sure about what this was, and so he says, Shart says, "I thought this place would be more heavily defended. Well, I mean, I started, but then remembered he was spending most of his time in that demonic spank bank he'd made himself." And so this is something. This was established in this section of last time's reading. Shart says, "I've used my mana to construct a false reality where I'm surrounded by demon babes," Shart replied.
That's right.
You can't be serious, I stated. His hips moved a bit. Oh, crap. I tried to prod him off my shoulder, but he appeared stuck. So just constructing the fiction that Shart is going into, Wade Watts's... Didn't Wade Watts have some sort of perv suit or something that he wore with discrete openings?
Discrete openings, yeah.
But that's what he's referencing here. But it wasn't even established why he was stuck on his shoulder. I know boner jokes, and I think that's what that is. But it was I still don't really understand the physicality of how it works.
I don't either. Your portcullis reminder or joke thing, semi-joke, What is it? Had a follow-up, by the way.
Oh, okay.
The Western Wall the Western Wall, so I don't know what wall you were talking about. The eastern side of the Western Fortress, I don't know, had a giant portcullis that looked big enough to easily drive a semi through, much like the semi that killed me. I just thought it's a good reminder that he is dead.
For sure, right.
Thank you for reminding us that you're dead, and he seems to be somewhat nonplussed about that. Every now and then, sort of a, gosh. Like if you died and then all of a sudden you actually were before some pearly gates or something, you'd be like, this is, wow. I had heard about this. And then they would be like, come in, here's your sins. They're, as you know, they're all forgiven. So come in, this is heaven. You'd be like, wow, I'm in heaven. You wouldn't be like, I'm going to go to play with that cloud. And then remember like 10 days later, like, oh, that's right, I'm dead. Right? You would be kind of like, wow, I am in another plane of existence. This is truly, I had not imagined it. I didn't know what it was. Clearly, I didn't. No one does, right? I mean, Shakespeare told us that. No one knows what's beyond the veil. But he does now, and he's just like, whatever. Guess I was hit by a semi or some crap. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's remarkably uncurious, I guess, the whole thing. He sort of, I mean, I guess he does find lots of things interesting, though. So there's...
That was interesting.
The wall you're talking about is the same. The Western Wall is the wall that he earlier described as having the makings of a portcullis. So he's within the span of a page and a half, he's just reduced that to a giant portcullis that looked big enough to drive a semi through.
So it's the same portcullis?
It's the same portcullis. Yeah, it's
the makings of a portcullis is the same as a giant portcullis that looked big enough to easily drive a semi through.
Yeah, it's almost as if he forgot that he had described it maybe in a previous writing session, and then went back to it this time with a renewed attempt to describe it.
The editor at HarperCollins will clear that crap up right away. There will be no ambiguity here, my friend.
Not at HarperCollins.
Distinguished. Now let's put your writer bio up and see how that goes. See, you're on a tighter leash than you were when you were just publishing stuff on the internet.
Oh man, if they just like really whipped him into shape, like just put him through a writer's boot camp in his next book 9 in the series.
That would be hilarious. Like which writer would come out, with their hands behind the back going like, "You think you are a writer?" Getting right in his face. "You are crap to me.
I've got nowhere else to go." Except back to Amazon, where I'm making tens of thousands of dollars a week from this garbage. He talks about, right after that, the semi that killed me, he says, talk about a sneak attack. No, I can't think about that now. I have heroing to do. Which, if you want to give credit where it's due, to me that's indistinguishable from the Andy Weir school of writing. And he's got a giant movie coming out with Ryan Gosling this week, true. I think. So
that's true. Well, look, it's proof for anyone out there who's just writing garbage. Keep going, man. I just want to do a test with you. I want to see if I can be as funny as him. So I'm going to complete this one for him. I feel like he just gave up on this, and it was an easy joke. So I just want to try it. Here's what he actually wrote, and then I will add my own. I went through them like a hot knife through butter. Now this is me. Literally, I heated up a knife and ran it through some butter. It was super easy. See? That's all he needed to do was one word. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the editor got to that one and took it out.
I'm feeling like you're learning this style. You've sat in the back and sort of just like, like the guy at a dance off who's just sort of sizing everybody up, and sooner or later you're going to be serving everybody, literally. Yeah.
Yes.
That is part of the what he's doing here is he's going in and he's killing goblins. He's been effortlessly dispatching goblins as he goes into this place, which makes for great drama, is easily killing things with no resistance whatsoever. It's like if you were describing the Mario stomping on a Goomba or something. That's what he's doing here. But he's doing this because he has noted that there are several human bodies tied up to poles, some alive and some dead. Also, several cages full of people against the rough mountain walls. The caged people were totally exposed, and many looked as emaciated. So it's a horrific display of human suffering here that the goblins have tied these people up in a concentration camp, essentially, and some are dead, some are alive, some are wishing for death, some are barely considered alive. So as you've got knives through hot butter and literally jokes, those are the stakes here. And I was curious how he was going to make it funny, and we'll get to that.
It's to me, it's like the didn't Rambo, one of his later movies, right? It got, Rambo at first, it's like a cartoon. He's going in and just like killing, like, you're evil. But I think there was one like could you do one last job and rescue this woman from like a rape camp? Like just horrific. And Stallone's like, yeah, I don't know. I can't get back into the game. You know what I mean? And then they do. And of course that he just like slaughters everyone. But in the middle of it is like this just horrific, like people living and like they're shocking them to death and like pulling them out to I'm sorry if you have children. Children shouldn't listen to this. But just horrific, right? And then there's Stallone.
Yeah,
like I don't
wielding two machine guns with his.
I don't think you've earned this gravitas, this sort of like the darkest thing in the world. Yeah, it's supposed to be a cartoon. Like, yeah, he's evil. Shoot him. Yeah, cut him in half. All of a sudden, there's like humanized people that he's just like knifing. You're like,
Right. I, of course, only know that from the UHF parody of that scene. So, I'm as over the top of that is, I think that the real thing with real Stallone has got to be even crazier. But
this was the sequel where he, some of people who don't know Stallone, my younger nieces and nephews were like, what is happening? As he was like on a truck, shooting like a 50 cal at people and just like exploding into fans of blood. They're like, oh my God. Like, no, you don't get it. It's Stallone. It's
no thought to how anyone would like spend the rest of their life just reacting to the merest twig snap with just immediate panic attack and unable to function. Everyone's just like, well, as long as he gets them out of there, everyone thinks he's going to be fine.
Anyway, that's what this is like, because there's human beings, right, that he cares about are like
emaciated. They've been there for months. Yeah, just the goblins have been killing their loved ones in front of us and slitting throats for fun. Yes. But then Jim shows up. Then he somehow gives away his own position by firing a magic arrow that lights up his. He was killing things effortlessly, but then he gives away his position by firing this blue tracer arrow. But it doesn't really seem to slow things down too much. The only real description of any action we get that isn't hit points and buffs and boons is this one, which is my arrow, unimpeded by wind, exploded into his face. The explosion caused his brain to boil and liquefy, oozing out of his nose and mouth. And it just sort of made me be like, if this is what you're going to give us, that really makes the RPG stats so much less satisfying than they already were in that respect. Like, it did 5 hit points of damage. Like, brains oozing out of nostrils is what I want from this type of thing.
But then his little goblins, like his 5 goblin children and wife, had to come and like pick up his. Right? Do they? No, that's right. He comes along and loots it. Forget what I said.
Sure. Yeah.
He says during this battle, which I think you're supposed to just go like, I don't know, Helm's Deep. I mean, obviously you're supposed to go whatever video game this is, but just imagine this. So when all this is happening, just my mind is just going, I don't know what's happening. I can't. Then I leapt, but of course, because he had the dodge thing, he was able to I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. But I do know what this means, and so I had questions about it. He fights, I think it must be a goblin, right? That's all there is right now. Of course, the shield struck my funny bone. There was no way that wasn't going to happen, given my luck. Couple questions about that.
Right.
Do you, in these games, which he's only aping these games, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have a funny bone? And do you have to protect it? Like, I got to protect my funny bone because I could get hit on it. So in a goblin fight, so I better get a charger for my, or whatever. Is it a charger? The little tiny shields?
I don't know what that is, but no, I don't think that there is. I don't think that there is a lot of funny bone hitting. I can't remember if Zelda Breath of the Wild, if Link was hitting his funny bone when he battled Dodongo. That wasn't something that was really a memorable moment from that game. So,
but there was no way that wasn't going to happen, given my luck.
You've been nothing but lucky.
That's what
the knife was going through these things like butter.
What are you talking about?
I guess maybe getting hit by a semi and dying and leaving behind your wife and children. That's it. Well, given my luck, that was going to happen.
Well, I'm only 18, so, what are you going to do?
But when you said when you just picture Helm's Deep, that is, of course, what everyone was meant to envision. And it's very funny that he didn't say, then I went all Helm's Deep on their asses, because he said that about Home Alone earlier, and he later makes a movie reference, he certainly does, overt one that is, we'll just tease that now because it's truly incredible when it happens. So it's really, about the sentences that the jokes he doesn't make, I think. That's to his credit. The fact that he can invoke Helm's Deep without saying it was like Helm's Deep that's where the artistry of Ryan Rimmel, I think, really comes into play here.
That's why I've been trying to complete his jokes for him, where it's like, come on, man, this is an obvious setup to a joke. So I'm probably skipping a lot, so I'll leave you to, because there's page after page of this stuff.
Well, yeah, it's a battle. So you if you've gotten to this point now with us, you understand that there's hit points and there's goblins, but there's no poetry there. The brains oozing out was the best thing I've read. You do get a cage full of people that he tries to rescue. There is 3 men and 1 very burly lady, which is a description he uses for her as we move forward. And at some point in time, Shart gets in a barrel and he knocks that barrel away, stating the barrel was half empty and half full of worthless garbage, which is his way of saying it was half full of Shart. But I just appreciated no better way to say that the barrel was half empty and half full. That's the HarperCollins folk can maybe crack that puzzle if there's any extra words you could eliminate out of there. But that's not one for me. That's one for that's one for the professionals.
Here's a sentence, by the way, and then I have one of his great jokes after that. But this is a bullet point, so I paid special attention to it. Like, oh, goodness, all right, this is bolded. Let's read this. And it is like, in James Joyce or something where all of a sudden a different kind of, he pulls out a paragraph. Like, I guess I better pay attention. Until now, I've been reading in a daze, James Joyce. But I better pay attention to this. So here we go. Goblin Shield, Defense 10, Deflection 6, Durability 2/20, period. Deflection contacts penetration attacks on a point-by-point basis. I mean, it's just like honey coming out of my mouth. It's just like, it's so sweet. The prose, like, I just then went back and read it again. Goblin Shield, Defense 10, Deflection 6. Like, like Shakespeare, you're trying to think of, like, if I was having to perform this, how many ways would I do it? Who would do this like this?
Right.
Like with a Scottish actor, Goblin Shield, Defense 10. Or would you do it more subtly? Goblin Shield, Defense 10. I don't know. There's just so many ways to do it. It's so sweet.
Yeah, it's the same way that when Shakespeare's plays have been interpreted so many different ways over the centuries that you could 20 directors could approach a reading of this with 20 different viewpoints, and dare I say all of them would work. When the material's that good, and when it interrupts whatever action there is to make you read that, and then have absolutely nothing to take away from it because it doesn't matter at all.
But it leads me to my this is my last note of this chapter, because I think it's coming to an end, I guess.
Sure.
Suddenly the goblin in the rear, suddenly,
nice.
The goblin in the rear screamed as a heavily bearded man charged up behind him with an axe. David Letterman, I assume, right away, right? My immediate assumption of a heavily bearded man.
Sure, maybe Billy.
What are you swinging that axe there, huh?
You got him with an axe.
Yes, he is. He's got an axe, David.
The goblin's got an axe, and he is gonna cook some snacks. Hey, goblin with an axe today.
That's enough out of you, Paul.
Wee-hee.
Woo! We're going back 20 years for that, so that's
one thing that I was concerned you might have missed in this thing is towards the very end of this chapter, he says, the final goblin found himself outnumbered. I managed to strike at his head. It's pretty easy to deal head wound damage when you're 3 feet taller and on a higher step than your opponent. Don't try it. I have the high ground, I warned. And you might have missed that, but that's a fairly subtle reference to a line that Ewan McGregor says in the Star Wars Episode 3, where he warns Anakin that I have the high ground.
I did. I'm looking at it right now, and I still don't even know. I don't even believe that you're right about that. It's right in my vision, and I still think you're lying.
Maybe too early to give him credit on the not mentioning Helm's Deep there, because he does pop in another. There's been other Star Wars references here,
So when you see that, if you're a reader, you're reading that, are you happy? Like, thank you? Like, there's nothing added, right? There's no twist on it. It's just like, yes, thank you. Now I can check the box.
I honestly
don't get it.
Do you consider it an Easter egg that is it's not hidden and it's not subtle? It's just it's parroting a line from a movie that made $2 billion at the box office. I don't know. We sat next to those guys who said yes when Ready Player One started and Van Halen Jumps started playing. So I think some people just like having things from things they like repeated back to them. I don't know. Okay. Can we just do that? Can we get in here and just read lines from Star Wars and have people say that we're a 5-star podcast? I don't know.
Well, let's try it. Why not?
Yeah, we got a whole Grogu thing coming up, so we can read the Mandalorian and Grogu references. That'll be 372 Grogu references. We'll never get back. That's what we're pivoting to. And then, so this chapter ends with another reference to several other humans, including the rather burly lady. So has he caged here? Has she gone from burly to rather burly? Can't say I like that. Oh, she was very burly earlier. Now she's just rather burly. I guess she had the portcullis effect where she has all the makings of being burly.
I became concerned about his references to ladies, but that maybe happens later too, where it's like, what is your view of ladies?
Well, they're hot.
There's only two of them.
Sure, but they're both hot. So, like, what do you want me to do? I forget whether Ava Sophia was hot.
I think she was hot.
Okay.
And then I think he's flirting, but that's another.
You got it. Yeah,
we'll get to it.
Well, yeah. Let's get to chapter 19, Rescue. Where do you have a joke flagged here? Because I've got sort of a joke.
No, I just have the at the opening line.
Okay.
The 2 minutes later, the very angry lumberjack named Otto Sherman, all one word, and the one word thing is that. What gag is that again? And how does he know this? Is he? I guess later we learn you can like look at someone else through your menu view or through your war tab or whatever, and then you can see their name. Is that how he knows they're only, like, if someone said, if I told you my name is Mike Nelson, you wouldn't assume that Mike Nelson was one word.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, because
if I told you my name is Otto Sherman, you wouldn't go, okay, it's Otto Sherman. Obviously there's no space there. So he has some special knowledge, and is it just that he's looking at them with his... Is it
yes, I think he does the equivalent of an AOL ASL check and looks at their character sheet and sees that. And it just must be how Skyrim or something like that works, where you...
But is that a joke or something? Is that... I mean, joke is, again, heavy scare quotes. It's a reference to something, like people would know, like, ha, 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 Otto Sherman, we know, is a thing from whatever game where they couldn't put a space in because that required too much on a 64-bit system, and so we...
Correct, yes. It's like my high school computer science lab where you, in order to do something in C, you had to combine the two names or concatenate or whatever the term was. I think that's what that is. If it seems like it has to be a joke in here, it's so full of jokes that you just have to assume it's another joke, I would say.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I have to just start laughing at things, then that would be great if you, like, can you all sit in a room and just read this? And then I would be laughing at inner... What are you laughing at, man? Because I am cracking up at Otto Sherman, and I would be like, central part of the courtyard, right, guys?
Stamina 70?
That's one of the very few things that isn't a joke. Damn it. I blew it.
Right. It's an Emperor's New Clothes situation where you're just trying to laugh along with everybody else.
Yeah,
how about this one?
I get you.
You'd laugh with this one, I think, no matter what.
Okay.
A dour-looking bearded man was standing there with the burly woman. She also looked dour, but you can't just describe everyone as dour. The comment I wrote down in real time in my document is just too mean and cruel to read out loud, I would say. So.
Oh, no. Okay, you're going to skip one.
I don't want
rare time where one of the comments doesn't. Yeah, I noted that also as like, I don't know, man. This is no time for meta commentary.
Yes.
Like, you can't do this at this point. You can't break the fourth wall, and no one's with you on that, I don't think, but obviously they are, because 5 stars across the board.
Sure. He continues to describe the burly woman. She was almost pretty, but her shoulders were so ripped that I wasn't sure it was appropriate to think of her that way. So, almost pretty, yet burly. Burly cancels out pretty. I think that's a basic D&D tenet, I think.
So, I was a little confused. Maybe you can help me. So, Otto Sherman is the angry lumberjack.
Correct.
But then Fenris is the dour bearded man?
Oh. See, I lost track of this. Fenris goes on to become a... yes, I don't believe that
he's
Otto
a
Sherman...
warden, which is a subclass of woodsman. A warden is a subclass of woodsman, so do the Venn diagram of that.
Mm-hmm.
But Fenris is not Otto Sherman. And
correct.
Then,
I don't believe Otto Sherman goes on to play a big role in this book, whereas Fenris is a central role to the rest of this.
Okay, so why did we bring up Otto Sherman? I was like, okay, I guess I got to remember Otto Sherman now. But he was just like, he's like, again, to reference Shakespeare, he's just like Seton bringing the people to the gate. Like, here they are, my lord. Thank you, Seton. Why are we saying his name? We don't.
Correct. Or Glenn Coco in Mean Girls, just a named character that doesn't really get any other screen time. Okay. Seabass in Dumb and Dumber, to go along with your Shakespearean analogy, too.
Okay, so Otto Sherman just, like, comes in. He's like, what's the play about the two guys from...
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, right?
Yeah.
Take two characters who are just there, like, they get names, so let's do a whole play about them. Funny thing, like Otto Sherman, I'm assuming is another book, but here he's not important.
No. Yes.
Okay. Fenris and what's her name? Barker. What is it? Sulita.
Sulita.
Also one name.
It is one name, and sounds like it could be one name, but it is two names. It's Sulita, I guess, is her last name. It all sounds like if he has Patreon supporters where they had a certain tier, you get your name in the book.
Yes. And a Fenris is a real thing? Because I had to look it up. I'm like, what is Fenris? Oh. And I think it's a thing. I think it's from video. It's old-timey, but then it was put into video games. So
it's related to Norse wolves or something?
Yeah, like Norse wolf kind of thing. So like bearded guy, Fenris, ha ha ha. We all know what this is, right? I guess
so. It also could be referencing a Marvel superhero, I'm guessing, from two supervillain characters. So,
but just remember, everyone, Warden is a subclass of woodsman. Don't start thinking he is a full woodsman. He's only a subclass of it. All right, now we can carry on.
Okay. Here's a line that is almost verbatim what you used, and very effectively to mock his writing style. Looking around, I could see many warg tracks. One of the buildings nearby had the smell of a kennel, meaning it smelled like shit. Literally.
Yes. I had the same line pulled out. It is the literally necessary there?
I didn't doubt him. I assumed that's what he meant.
That's what everyone reading it? It smelled like that. I don't think that's ambiguous, right? I mean, I guess it could be in another context, but we knew he's talking about a kennel. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, maintained by goblins who are not clean beings. So, just weary. It makes me weary.
Literally. Okay.
Well, if you think that, again, not to keep teasing things happening, but there's a one-word sentence that caps off a joke coming up very quickly, I think, too, that is a sort of a just leave your house and go for a long walk around the block type of thing. So you got that to look forward to.
Did you have to do, what was the book where people were pinching their nose? Did you have to do that? Where you like bend over and go, Sigh, sigh heavily and pinch your nose. One of our books, people pinch their noses a lot.
Oh, yeah. If you look like you're suffering from a headache medication ad, I think that's the appropriate posture that this book bestows upon you.
Blowing a bit of hair that is hung down over your head you've got like rubber gloves on reading it because you don't want to touch the book, and then you go, I just want to give people, again, the prose that we're dealing with. At HarperCollins, you're in for a treat. I volunteer to read the book. I think the other guy, whoever is doing it, is doing a fine job. But I just volunteer if you need a name. Here we go. Let me read this because this is all bullet points, so I assume it's important. Sulita, Hunter, level 5. Hit points, 73/75. Stamina, 60. Mana, 25.
I like the pause to let people wonder, is her mana going to be 22? 27? I
was trying to set up the tension there. It was,
right.
Mana. It's a colon, but I was kind of doing an ellipses. Reader's choice there.
That's why you're the best. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's Please don't sign on to read Mayor of Noobtown 9. We've got a pretty fun thing going on later this year with the Rift Tracks Experiments Mystery Science Theater, and I don't want that to submarine the entire thing. It could be, man.
Hey guys, got a schedule conflict, man. This is what I think could make me actual money.
Rimmel's outside honking the horn of his Escalade. Get in here, Nelson. We're late. Wow.
All right.
Comic-Con Hall F. Like, wow, Mike Nelson's in there? Is that about the Rift Tracks episodes? No, he's a peripheral player in the Noobtown universe now.
The line sort of fills in.
So he's, I think, Groutuck, the Warg Master, shows up, the king of the goblins.
Does he?
Maybe he's just still being teased at this moment. He's going to show up, but he debates briefly leaving the people and getting the hell out of there, and then tries to find Sharp, but Sharp has rolled away in his barrel, and so he's not there. Mm-hmm. That's how that chapter ends.
There's Herbs and Fenris, who's now, I don't know, look up Fenris as how many times they say Fenris, but I think he's a major player.
He is from here on out, and he's a major plot point that has been left hanging. He later resolves it. So Fenris and Sulita are the two names you need to know if you're reading along. Fenris,
Sulita is Burly?
For Sulita is Burly.
Okay.
The Burly Sulita.
Okay.
And so then it keeps going into chapter 20, which is planning the battle of the Western Gate Fortress. Yes. A good planning chapter. Just to spoil the whole thing. This is the Battle of the Western Gate Fortress. That's been established. It's said there in the title. The Wargs will be attacking from the Eastern Gate of the Western Gate Fortress. So it's just it's one of those. Some people call them weird, unforced errors that could be easily redeemed if you went and did a second pass of editing. I just call it Rimmel magic. That's how I defend that.
As Bill Corbett said, I think many years ago, bonded on the fact that some people in focus groups and stuff go, when mistakes happen, they go, I like not knowing. That's fun. No. Your job as a writer is to keep track of these things. Don't give the person credit when they mess up. No. I like it. It's a good ambiguity. When he says the Western Fortress but the Eastern Wall, I like that. No.
I like clenching my fists in rage as I read something, wondering how this was rewarded with massive success. I find that fun. Speaking of fun, here we go. This is unambiguously.
This is a major battle, yeah.
But it gets going with Groutuck finally shows up, Warg Master, king of the goblins.
Yeah.
He looks on him using his lower skill and is able to see Groutuck, Warg Rider, level 10. That's it. Mm-hmm. I didn't get any other information. My lore skill gave me a name, but no hit points and no skills. Just a name and a level. I was feeling confident right about now. Not!
I told Bridget that. And she's like, she just stared at me and did the, thing like, I just read her that line and went, and then I said, and then she's like, "What? You know, why are you reading?" I think she was eating or something. Like, why are you reading this to me? Like, what year do you think this was written? She's like, do I have to? I don't know. I'm like, just pick a year. She's like, 1994? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, you're way off.
Was it 2007 when Borat sort of reintroduced that to a whole new thing by having him take a comedy class, and the whole point of it was that this guy was still teaching not as a punchline in 2007, and that was regarded as hilarious because that was so old and overplayed. No, it was 12 years after that.
Here's a joke that I had it pegged as a Jeb Bush moment here.
Oh boy,
where he goes, I think it's Gortek who's like, blah, 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 blah. Which one of you? And he's like, that would be me. I replied, get off my lawn. Please laugh. Like,
wow.
Don't leave me hanging, please, someone.
I think that's a very good thing to have pop up at the end of all of these moments, is just that sort of soul sucking please laugh moment of come on, I got bills to pay, man. Please laugh.
Please laugh.
Have you ever been in one of those situations? I remember right when we moved to Virginia, and it was like it was 2021, so like people were starting to do like live comedy and stuff. Again, for the pandemic had shut a lot of that down, but so it was like, oh man, a live comedy show is coming to this brewery by us. Like, let's go see it. It's just going to be good to go and laugh, with the crowd. And sure. 15 people showed up in a room where they probably held wedding receptions. So the guy had to start by being like, if people just, come on, move a little closer, like get a little, and then, so you're sitting way too close to him. It's in an enormous room. He was fine, but you feel an obligation to laugh in that situation when it's that quiet of a room and you're in there. And so just sort of overdoing it, but not wanting to sound sarcastic. And that would be what it would be like to attend an author reading of this thing. Like, did that sound fake? Oh man, I think I overdid it. Now he knows, he can tell, but it's worse to sit here quietly.
Yeah. It's that moment, like you're at a wedding or something and someone's doing a toast and they're obviously making a joke, but you're like, I don't know, this chicken, I'm hungry. It's all I got. I know it's on a bed of pretty pasty potatoes, but man, I got to do this. And you're just like taking a bite and you're trying to get that perfect, like that canned mushroom on the top of it. And then someone's like, so then I told Jim, like, no thanks, you take her.
Get another one of these. It's over here.
The wine bottles are empty on our tables.
Please laugh.
Please laugh.
Man. So yes, they were. When he says, "What was the line that got the?" Oh, get off my lawn. I got it. Yeah. That was what the laugh line was. Mm-hmm. He banters back and forth with Grautuck for a while. Like you said, there's a lot of physicality that's hard to understand here. I assume he's up on these battlements shouting down to Grautuck, King of the Wargs, but he is sort of just saying, get off my lawn to him back and forth. But he goes on to give us sort of an analogy, and I'll let you decide if you think this is an effective thing. Just because the descriptions, when we get them, are like the gut brains coming out of his nose. Maybe he's got some talent there, but it's buried in all these skill charts and upgrade trees and whatever. Mm-hmm. I tried to draw mana out of the bond. The cosmic link between the demon and me was a bit like a networking cable. Inside the bond, there were many strands, including the one to transmit and receive mana. Before, I grabbed the whole string. Since Shart had wanted to get power from me, he'd just let me do that. On the other hand, Shart was really fond of his mana, so the mystical connection for taking it from him was a bit harder to grasp. Just like a networking cable. Yeah, we were on board with that. You didn't need to explain it in that much more detail. We all are familiar with how that works, and then you went on to describe precisely how that works. It's
when I confess, I I saw that. I started reading that paragraph about I tried to draw mana out of the bond, the cosmic link, and I was like, yeah, I can't. I'm done.
Right.
So I didn't see
PTSD from the last mana transferring section from last week.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I think I get that. But that's a good point. And I do have advice for, because HarperCollins, look, man, you have almost no work to do. You're fine. You dump this on the market, they're going to buy it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go back to something that was referenced in, I think maybe Reading 2 or Reading 1 even. I possessed an information source that was chock full, CHALK, full of useful information, was always happy to tell you, blah, 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 blah. He's talking about Shard. So, HarperCollins, what are you going to do? I think the person's going to go like, they're going to pinch their nose and go, well, I mean, it's colloquial. It has been used. And then they'll pull up references and they'll go like, you know, the OED will say, absolutely not, under no circumstances. The style manual will say, please, dear God, no. But they'll say like, it's a new kind of thing. I mean, one of our characters is named Shart. What are we going to do here? I mean, chalk? People reading this are not going to know that it's actually not the word.
Right.
And then just go stat heavily around it.
Once you start talking yourself into that, being like, when someone reads all intensive purposes, we all know what they mean, you know? It's
Yes.
when part of your editorial decision is like going down your bullet points for the day, make sure all instances of shart are capitalized, make sharts possessive noun. So I don't know. I like you're addressing HarperCollins as a guy. Like, look, HC. I bet that's how Ryan Rimmel addresses them. Hey, yes. HarperCollins. I don't, Collins, Harper. I don't care. Whichever one it is. Where's my check?
He probably has he has the stats, like his, his literary agent has the stats of what they sold. And like, we're going to Bigfoot you on this bullshit with calling out chalk. It is chalk and stat, heavy stat on that. Well, we just think like when we were publishing Kurt Vonnegut, who's Kurt Vonnegut? Never heard of it. Yeah. Go to hell.
Is his name all one word?
Bang, bang, bang with a phone.
You don't like my chock full of it? Here's what. Find and replace every word of shart with chalk full. The demon's name is chalk full now. Now it's chock full of chalk fulls. How do you like that, bitch?
No, that's fine. Let's go back. Let's go back to Shart. Shart was so good. But yeah, I thought that's what you'd say.
Yeah. We have 100,000 Shart Labubu's that are waiting at the customs dock. Send them back. Light them on fire. I'll pay to do it. I want to watch those Shart Labubus burn because his name is Chalk Full now.
And the new HarperCollins editor comes out with the bow tie on, walks out like, what are we doing today? To get back in your office and talk to this guy. Oh, damn, you're right. Sorry.
You go talk to Thomas Pynchon. This is my floor of the building now. My God, we got to have. It's all people sometimes write in. They're like, "Hey, this thing that you were talking about in the what's another book we've done? Lair of White Worm episodes." Like, I've forgotten most of that by now, so I don't. If we're confused about something, 3 years from now, if you come across someone's like, if you find this book in a little free library, if someone tells you to read it, we need to know about it because we need to know if this HarperCollins gambit they're doing to save the publishing industry with Mayor of Noobtown is going to work. I'm going to be extremely curious. It's like a social experiment. Find one at a bus stop. Get one for Christmas. Please let us know.
Give it to Grandpa. Hey, Grandpa, you like reading? I do. I'm halfway through the LBJ thing that it's 4,000 pages. Yeah. Well, I know, just to take a break, I've got kind of a just turn off your brain and read The Mayor of Noobtown. Well, thank you. This volume, HarperCollins. Well, thank you very much. I will read this.
I do care for multi-volume literature, as evidenced by this Robert Caro, but sure.
Yes, but certainly I'll read this as a little bit of a distraction. Right now, he's just starting as a Texas congressman, so I've got many pages left.
Smash cut to Amazing Grace being played at his funeral. I don't entirely
folded on his chest. He really loved this book. It was the last thing he had.
Though I don't blame HarperCollins for my grandfather dropping a toaster into the bathtub, I just can't help but wonder what would have happened if they had never published this book. Oh, it's going to be great. I only wish that they was doing it on the heels of like the Christmas season, just so we could see how often that happens. Do you have a local bookstore that you can, like, in your neighborhood that you can get to, like a place that still is defying the odds and remaining open? You've got to go in a month from now. You've got to go and just casually inquire if they've got it. Because I have one in our neighborhood that's just a really nice place. Like it's hanging on, and I think people go there and support it. But I think that I will have to pop in there, and maybe I'll do a hidden camera. Do you by any chance have the Mayor of Noobtown? Get the hell out of here.
We also have a pretty vibrant, I think it's still there, it's a chain, I think, Half Price Books. Do you have that? Which I like quite a lot because it's a pretty big bookstore, and they have, and then you're not paying, obviously, full price for the book. I don't think the half price thing stands, but whatever. But that'll be funny to go in there because they're like total bookworms, like, yes, sir, who's next? Oh, you, what can I help you with, sir? I am looking for... And I take my bow tie and the Mayor of Noobtown. It's kind of like being at the guitar shop and playing Stairway to Heaven. Get the hell out of here.
Or if you do it, you have to cage it like when you'd buy beer with your fake ID, just being like, a thing of Funyuns and maybe this pack of Mentos, 6-pack of Killians, and Sports Illustrated, please. I'll take a Terry Pratchett and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Mayor of Noobtown, and Breakfast of Champions. I'll just take all 4 of these books.
I'm sorry, what was that middle one you mentioned? Hang on, let me just do a price check on them. Can I get a price check on the Mayor of Noobtown for this gentleman right
for the
here?
Guy behind me. It's for my son. What else happens? Shart calls him a stupid asshole. That was great. I liked Shart. He goes into menu time, and Shart sort of walks him through his menu, like when my grandfather would call me on the phone and ask me for help, like logging on to AOL. That was always fun. Well, your words must have been weird. I have a plan. Go to the mass combat tab, find out where it says leader. Oh, you didn't use your founder perk? Oh, come on, Grandpa. Like, that's just basic stuff here. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. You're my menu guru. I don't know what a founder perk. What?
What's your URL? Yeah, we're gonna. It's a long walk here. All right, so Shart appears. He was no longer. This is quoting. He was no longer an amorphous blob, but an imp-like avatar of himself, all black and wicked-looking. The fact that he was monstrously pissed off was just a bonus. So that's where I would be laughing, of course. That's the joke. Wait, what? I thought he was a floating ball of evil and like a baby?
Yeah.
And then he could disappear, but then he also threw him into a tree because he had 2 horns on? And he got stuck with the horns, right? Isn't that how he defeated him or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, that happened a month ago in real time, but I guess in menu time, podcast time, that was just pretty recently.
But that's his physical description. You can't just change. Like, then I'd be Tommy Wiseau movie, and then you just have a character be a different character.
You are Peter now. You play Peter. Psychologist. Yeah. I think that was Shart before he got leveled down, which at this point I don't even remember how that happened. He beat him by throwing him into the tree.
Oh, so he was a demon and then he turned into a floating ball of evil or looked like a baby?
Yes, I believe he used to look like. I'm only realizing this now when you see the devil on South Park, like the jacked guy with the horns and like the goat legs, and then I think he then got turned into a little. who's Anne Getty's demon, the cute little baby photographer.
Yes. Okay. So now he's all black and wicked looking.
Correct, because he's appearing to him in his menu, which he can do.
Oh. Okay.
That's it.
I don't know what's going on.
Imp-like, wicked looking. It's I don't know. It's a demon. You guys know the drill. You know,
he's all black. So right, if you paint something all black, you can't really see it unless lighting is really hard at that point.
Right, but I assume we're to understand that menu time is going by like the green letters in the Matrix. So maybe if you show up in front of that, then you stand out as being all black. Again.
Is menu time? If I click on the button enough, will I go into hammer time, or is that just not? It's just like an Easter egg.
Really whips the llama's ass, I think, is what it does.
Okay. All right.
Man, Hammer Time reminds me of the Hammer Man intro, which just is a work of towering fictional genius compared to what this is. He finds some magic shoes. He meets a guy named Stanley. Yes, it's just.
Why do you have questions? I don't.
It's
understand.
laid out there. He lays it out in 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yes, it's like Lidsville. Why do you? What are your questions? He goes to Lidsville. I think it was all explained in the 4-minute song.
How about this? You mentioned him earlier, maybe just because it was on your mind. I just wonder, it's a crime, right, to steal valor in person if you go around in a military uniform and use that to gain... I believe it is
technically a crime, yes.
To gain, priority boarding access.
Yes.
It was like the spirit of Patton entered me and began issuing orders for a successful battle. Is it a felony? I mean, I don't know. Can we bring this guy up on charges for invoking this?
When I read that, I was just immediately it's the Francis Ford Coppola wrote the movie. I think it was like, remember that trumpet repeat as he goes into I was here before, I was at the battle. That's what I thought of. Wow, all right, here he is, Patton, shooting his sidearm at a plane that's flying over and bombing them. But it doesn't quite turn out that way.
It is very much. It is not like you said. He did not read a Robert Caro biography of Patton. He, like me, I have not seen that movie, but he's seen that scene from Patton, and that's what he's invoking there. I was invoking another George C. Scott movie, and I was saying, "Turn it off, turn it off. Yes. You can't turn a book off, George. It will die. I don't know. Turn it off."
Also, a good invocation. I'm going to complete another joke for him. Right? He says this. Now my facial muscles were locked into an expression I had very little control over. Like when I go to a block party. Am I right? Right. I was just completing the joke for him. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Please laugh.
I will. I did. I tried. It gets exhausting being told to please laugh. That would be that's your review title. When you want to give it 5 stars and say that you didn't really like it, a lot of things seem forced, but you're rating it still 4 stars. That can be your title of the review on Amazon. And so the chapter ends with him saying, this is not going to be confusing at all to people. He's made Fenris his second in command, and he's made the burly Sulita, which I think, you can just refer to that as we talk Shakespeare. The fiery Tybalt is how they always said that in Romeo and Juliet. The burly Sulita, I think, is probably just an homage to that. He says, "Remember, the eastern gate of the western fortress," I shouted. Just rolls off the tongue. And I don't think they would forget. I mean, they're in the western fortress, right? They've been there for months because they were emaciated. But so you could just say the eastern gate. You don't have to say you weren't fighting in the trenches and being like, go to the left side of the trench. That they're pouring mustard gas into the right side. You'd be like, okay, I just go to the left side. I know we're in the trench.
Maybe sometimes they forget that. Which fortress are we in? Oh, right, we're in this one. Okay, and you just have to remind yourself. I mean, maybe it's just like a thing where, to your drill instructor, you have to say, "Sir, yes, sir," with everything that he says, and you can't have any. And if you forget to say, "Sir, yes, sir," you whatever you reply with has to be surrounded by sir, and then finish with sir. Huh. And if you don't,
or it could just be, there was one time, and Sean can corroborate this, that we were at an event and we're near someone who didn't seem like the brightest bulb, and they were sitting on the grass. I don't know what we were doing, picnicking or watching something, and just after a half an hour they were like, oh, I forgot I'm allergic to grass. And it was just sort of like stifling this, like, so if maybe that's just what you would assume that your reader is,
sure.
That level of IQ might be the level of remind people where they are, tell them where they are, and then tell them where they were. That's the Ryan Rimmel reader promise.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to chapter 21, pre-battle jitters.
Yes. Okay. I'm confused here. He described, first of all, I would want to read this bullet point thing, but I don't think you. Okay. No one needs that. Just trust me that it's Chode, Warg level 4, health 60, stamina 80, mana 10, climbing novice. Dear God, that can't be. We can't be writing this at this point. Anyway,
you just sort of just like skimmed right over a hilarious joke, which is that the ward is named Chode. So
I did. That's pretty funny.
So it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny.
Well, when shart is the baseline, I guess Chode is pretty good. Here's a sentence he says, and I was confused. I didn't go back, but I'm pretty sure. Maybe you can help me. Wargs are the trained hunting mounts of goblins. They are magically enhanced wolf pups that are given a special alchemical diet that causes them to grow large and tougher than the usual breed. Didn't we already know this?
I'm pretty sure we did. I might have been introduced when we were
deeply into the book now. I think he shot a warg in like chapter 4 or something.
Yeah, he shot a warg. He's trained a warg. He's domesticated a warg. So it's not really new information.
What are we explaining here? That's like stopping Goodfellas to go like, a gangster is a person who uses illegal means to achieve economical ends for him or her or his family. Like, what are we doing?
Right. It's enough.
I'll step away now and let the movie continue.
It's like stopping a book to remind you that the main character is a certified public accountant, forensic certified public accountant, and global services management accountant.
Imagine the madness of that. No one would ever attempt that.
No one would ever consider that book worthy of 7,000 5-star ratings.
But am I right? Everyone knows what a warg is, right?
Everyone knew that. But based on what he goes on to tell us about goblins and their proclivities in combat, I think he's either forgotten that he's told you that, or he's just
is it just like cut and paste? Like, hey man, you can't in order to get a whatever, you have to submit it to it has to be this many words. Like, oh, okay, right. I'll just cut and paste chapter. What is it? Chapter 21. Yes. I'll just cut and paste stuff from chapter 4 into that. Like, okay, whatever you need to do to get it up to 75,000 words or whatever.
Maybe it's just a very clever allusion to the game that comes to mind for me is the Zelda Game Boy game, where they hadn't really figured out video games at this point in time, so they'd sometimes just give you a lot of menu text that you already knew. Like every time you pick up this like magic acorn, it would be like, you feel invincible, and you're like A till it goes away. It could be just calling to mind in video games when there's text you want to skip, but the game makes you do that, so it's actually kind of brilliant. I don't know.
It is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I judged it as cut and paste when it's actually brilliance.
Giving you pointless text that you want to skip over it's actually next level writing.
Ernest Hemingway, he already said it, you thought? No, he's going to say it again. That's the brilliance of this book. It's just like that.
But he goes on to say this at the end of the chapter, because this is just a 2.5 page chapter, which is like at this point in time was like, oh man, there's going to be a page or 3/4 of a page of this that is just blank because he ended it. Like that was when I saw those, I was just like, oh, thank you. Yes. It felt like a refreshing breath of air. But he goes on to say, so the goblins are coming, the wargs are coming. He's evaluating his tactics and sizing up which gate or means of a portcullis is going to be easily defendable. He says, it was getting light out. I could see the beginning of orange and yellow that heralded dawn in front of me. It was so far my experience with the goblins that they fought less well in bright light. It has been? I mean, 60% of the book has been fighting goblins, correct? Yes. There's been nothing has been conveyed to me that made that clear at all, which is just a damning indictment of your abilities as a writer.
Brand new bit of information. They can't fight in the bright light. Okay. I was really, really cheered by a full blank page, at least in my reading.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, thank you so much. I don't have to look at that.
Yeah, because you're looking at it in a document and it's like 33 pages remaining, and then one of them happens to be just like 2 sentences on a... Oh, yeah, that's the good stuff.
So chapter 22, Battle of the Western Gate Fortress?
Yes.
What was the previous name chapter?
Planning for the Battle of the Western Gate Fortress, pre-battle jitters.
From the Western Gate Fortress?
Yeah. Emerson, Lake, and Palmer of the Western Gate Fortress.
Wow.
Yeah. Mayor of the Western Gate Fortress. That's a spin-off series.
Yeah. Western Gate Fortresser 3, Return of the Western Gate Fortress. All right, but this is chapter 22, Battle of the Western Gate Fortress. And again, I'm going to be honest here. It starts to get a little like, if you can't even make anything out, I'm just trying to find the things that I find funny. Let's be honest.
Correct. Yes. We'll try to keep you posted on what's going on, such as they start shooting arrows at wargs.
Yeah, you're not going to miss anything here. Trust me. We're not going to leave you hanging. Like, what happens at the battle? We'll get you there. But the Marvel humor was back.
Yeah.
When he says, well, that wasn't good. So I don't even remember what it was.
That wasn't it. We get several things that I thought were very close to us. So that happened, which at this point in time, I don't know if that's just something we've made up as a thing, but that's the shorthand for that type of humor for me. But this one I thought was very close to a Star Wars They Can Fly Now. It was, considering their massive size, it was really quite incredible to see the huge wolves charging up the side of the tower. So it's like, wargs can climb now? Wargs can climb now.
I think even at the time, and this is many years ago, that I went with a friend to see the Lord of the Rings. And, they're in the caves or whatever, the caves of... I'm sorry, I don't remember what they're called. And he closes the door, our hero, and he goes, they have a cave troll. And he's like, they have a cave troll. I turned to my friend. I was like, just like, it's been so good. And then there was just like that bit of Marvel humor in the middle of it.
Yeah, it makes it stand out more. Like, the only thing I remember about the Battle of Helm's Deep is that Legolas like hops on his shield like a surfboard and is shooting arrows like that, and it's things like that were just like, that stands out in a really bad way.
Yeah, bad choice.
How about this description? My arrow slammed into the neck of the warg, spinning it around like some sort of bad ragdoll effect.
Yes, I did notice that. Like, I don't know what to describe it as, so whatever. But it's bad, though. Okay,
oh, it's bad. Good. That's bad stuff is good. That makes it easier to comprehend.
All right, so here's a bit of physical stuff. If anyone can help me with this, I have no idea what's going on. To my horror, I watch what remained of the eastern gate flying outward. We'd blockaded the half of the door that was missing with the expectation that they would force their way in on that side. The hinge wasn't even set up to let the door swing out. Then I saw that the hinge was still attached to the door. The powerful wolves had ripped the entire door and all of its hardware free of the wall. What does that mean? Do you have any idea what the physicality of that? What is happening? We thought this, but it wasn't this. The hinge was this, but the hinge wasn't that. We thought it would swing out, but it swung in. Then all of them were gone and didn't matter, so why did I even describe? What the hell is going on? Do you have any idea what that means?
I think they had set up a classic ramshackle barricade composed of, a covered wagon, probably a spinning wheel, table built up on its thing to block the non-portcullis entrance. But I guess they only did that on one side, and then there was a door on the left, and then the wolves. I guess maybe the wolves are also climbing walls, so maybe they're sort of wolves that can be bipedal, and they've ripped the door off of its hinges and just went on through the other side where they hadn't barricaded.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can make it clearer for you. Thank you. That physicality really helped. The hinge wasn't even set up to let the door swing out. Then I saw the hinge was still attached to the door. So there you go. You were right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I doubted you in any way.
I like describing the hinge wasn't set up to let the door swing out. That's a very strange way of telling you which way a door swings.
That's like watching one of those TikTok videos of a bad home redo or something. Where like, the door doesn't swing the way it's supposed to, and it hits the refrigerator. Like, what an idiot! I guess the Eastern Gate is like that. Sorry, the Eastern Gate of the Western Gate Fortress.
Yes, right. Eastern Gate of the Western Wall. That's important to do.
Yes.
The Western Gate has the makings of a portcullis.
Okay, only the makings, though. And the other one, but that's the same portcullis you could drive a semi easily through.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And I suppose that the portcullis is the reason they're attacking from the Eastern Gate of the Western Wall, because that makings of a portcullis turns out to be pretty impenetrable to powerful wolves.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, important. So that was a longish chapter about a battle, but all it is just easily dispatching wolves, goblins with grappling hooks also being pretty easily dispatched, and then I think by some point in time he gave you a body count that was killing 10 goblins, 3 humans dead, another 6 wounded, and several wargs shot below. Mm-hmm. I think that before we start chapter 23, hero work at the Western Gate Fortress.
Yes.
No specification of which gate of the Western Gate Fortress, the east or west, but a very special guessing game for you, sponsored by one of our listeners. What do you think? Ready for it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Not real or fanfic. Do not add it to my total.
All right. Yeah. So we have no real or fanfic this week because obviously we finished the book, so you would know what was from later in the book, Mayor of Noobtown. But Melanie, loyal jackal, went the extra mile by going through some of the rest of the series, the Noobtown series, the Noobtown opus, finding passages from later books in it, but also going through the best-selling Dungeon Crawler Carl series.
Oh, boy.
Finding passages from that series, which is, I'm looking it up right now.
Far superior.
It's number 10 on the combined print and ebook fiction list. Hardcover fiction books, Dungeon Crawler Carl, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. Second of the book is number 5 on those lists. It's been on for 9 weeks.
So when people celebrate this book 5 stars, if I could give it 10, I would. Fireworks celebrations, parades in the streets. This is ticker tape parades and nothing. The fireworks they celebrate this with fill the harbor of New York.
Yeah, I mean, just people worshiping golden statues of the author of Dungeon Crawler Carl and naming, he's kissing their babies. He's just, we'd elect you president a 3rd time if we could. Guy who wrote Dungeon Crawler Carl, that type of thing.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Beloved person. So there's 5 excerpts. It's from either Dungeon Crawler Carl, the greatest book written in our lifetimes, or later from Mayor of Noobtown.
Okay.
Number 1. This
does not add to my stats, right?
No. This is a completely different...
completely separate thing.
Yes. Okay. Because you haven't read DCC, so you have no idea. Number 1. Were there really babies in there? Goblin babies, I asked? Oh, yes. There were a bunch of them. I only saw them for but a moment, but they were quite cute. Some of them were wearing little oversized jackets like Baby Yoda. Adorable. I think you hit one with a cart. There were old ones and pregnant ones, too. Did you see your level? We're both level 8 now. You're welcome.
Okay. Can I guess right now? I think that's
Yeah.
Dungeon Crawler Card, DCC.
Okay. Got goblins, got Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2. Blood Trail was a new one. It was about to run out, but it was an insidious debuff. Blood Trail, a favorite of game hunters and medical debt collectors chasing after deadbeats, this magical bleeding debuff is usually applied to ranged weapons. Your health seeps downward at a slow, steady pace. You may heal, but all open wounds at the time you receive this debuff will continue to weep, allowing for you to be tracked easily. It also makes you smell really bad. Or really good, depending on who's doing the sniffing. I'd been hit with a half dozen other debuffs too, but they'd all expired. How long was I out? I asked, trying to sit up. I was completely soaked in blood. I know we got 2. Did we get more? Don't get back up yet, the woman said. She put a gentle hand on my shoulder, pushing me back. I winced.
Well, there was sniffing there, and there, we know he likes sniffing trunks and stuff like that. Well, I'll say that's from the series.
Noob.
All
right. Number 3. Cutting between 2 stalls and grabbing a hot meat pie, I tried to figure out what to do next. Julia was in a clothing store, trying on dresses or something. I didn't think she would appreciate me poking my head in. Frankly, I didn't want to go dress shopping. Dresses make my butt look frumpy.
Ugh. First of all, women be shopping. Can we all agree on that? That's got to be from the award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning Dungeon Crawler Carl series. It has to be.
Number 4. She held out her wrists. I undid the cuffs that were there. She took a moment to flex her fingers before grinning at me. She grabbed her hair and lifted it off her neck, revealing a collar. Will you do the honors? She asked. I was considering saying no, but the idea of a woman in a slave collar was unappealing to me. I was more of a slave bikini, cinnamon bun hair sort of guy. I brought the key up to the lock, but it didn't fit. This key doesn't go to this lock, I said, fiddling with it for another few seconds. They must have different keys. One of the other guards has to have it, she said, her cheer momentarily broken. I checked the building to find this key. There weren't any other keys anywhere, I replied calmly. She inhaled sharply before turning back to me. I could see the wheels spinning in her mind as she determined her next course of action. Did any of the guards escape, she asked. Yes, I replied, guessing how this was going to go. I require you to chase down that guard and bring me back the key, she said.
Well, wow, okay. Slave Leia. That's got to be the multi-trillion-dollar series that Spielberg is already deep into the storyboards of DCC.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that was... subtle, but I guess that was a Slave Leia. Funny. Didn't stand out the first 3 times I read it. That's why these things reward rereading, is because of the subtle jokes like that.
Oh, jokes. You can't just read these once. Of course you have to return to them to get the illusions.
Number 5. One of the level 7s glanced in our direction and approached. She was a female goblin, standing about 5 1/4 feet tall, making her tower over the others. She had well-defined muscles and wore a jet-black robe. She carried a wooden staff that, oddly, also had a pineapple at the top. But this one was actually made of wood, a part of the carving. The goblin's face was filled with piercings. There had to be 50 of them. She looked like one of those body modification people who would appear on Ripley's Believe It or Not. It was hard to look at until you got used to it. The woman sneered, revealing sharpened teeth and a forked, pierced tongue. Goblin Shamanka, level 7. In case you're wondering, Shamanka is just a fancy way of saying female shaman. Goblin shamans are the leader class of all goblin clans, second only to the war chieftain or, more rarely, the goblin warlord.
Well, look, no matter who wrote this is great prose, obviously. There's no doubt about that. But I think, didn't our author that we're currently reading talk about goblin height is a big thing?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, with that to go on, my mind is an open book to everyone. I'm going to say it is from Noobtown.
Okay. All right. Let's see how you did. Let's see how our listeners at home did, because it seems like it's kind of tricky here. Granted, these are hand-selected things to probably try to be tricky. But number 1 was Goblin Babies Like Baby Yoda. That is from, you said Dungeon Crawler Carl.
I did.
And that is from Dungeon Crawler Carl, the first book. So you picked that one out pretty well.
At least got one. Okay.
So it's good Baby Yoda references.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, this was he got a debuff called Blood Trail. And he sort of explained that in detail. You said that's got to be from later Noobtown book. But that is actually from Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 5, Butcher's Masquerade.
Wow, okay. Debuff.
1 for 2. Debuffs.
Sniffing at things. Right?
Was that? Yeah, that was when you're doing, depends on who's doing the sniffing.
Yeah, sniff is a word that I think we need to bring back more. Stop sniffing that. Who likes when anyone says sniffing? All right.
Yeah. I walked into the room and they were sniffing. Is that going to end well? Probably not. Number 3, that was hot meat pie and women be shopping. Dresses make my butt look frumpy. You said Dungeon Crawler Carl. That is from Noob Game Plus, Book 5 in the Noobtown series.
They're indistinguishable. They're both great writers.
That's why it was so tricky. That's...
This is like asking me, is this from Ben Jonson's play or from Shakespeare's? I don't know. Did Edward de Vere pen this? I don't have any idea.
Number 4 was the very subtle slave Leia joke that you thought came from Dungeon Crawler Carl. That is also from Noob Game Plus, Book 5 of Noobtown. 1 for 4. And then number 5 was the Goblin Shamanka. Ripley's Believe It or Not reference, and you believe that based on the goblin height, that came from Mayor of Noobtown. We'll have to go back and see how big the goblins were in Mayor of Noobtown, because this 5.25 foot tall female goblin shamanka came from Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 1. So 1 for 4 of those passages you correctly identified as.
All right. Well, do not add that. Do not add that to my total. Under no circumstances. Wow.
That went about as well as I could have hoped.
Well, that was tough. I mean, you have to.
Of course, it's tough. The book we haven't read isn't going to be good.
Shamanka. I mean, that does give credence to people have occasionally nudged us and said, no, well, you're reading the bad version of it. This is the good version. All right. There's no evidence of that so far.
The good version is dropping Baby Yoda references into the... I just also like to call attention to the New York Times best-selling books, this list. Number 3, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary, 40 weeks on the list. And right below Dungeon Crawler Carl is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, and its 2nd week on the list. So the podcast is well represented.
I occasionally pull out my phone and do that. I think I've mentioned that before, that the top hits on, whatever the top songs of the week, and then around a table, like number 1, and just say, people like, yeah, I don't know that song. Number 2, anyone? And
Young Ampersand with
all 10, and nobody knows what it is, and it obviously is. They're all making trillions of dollars. Very funny.
It's hard. But unlike that, where you could just be like, oh, of course I don't know that because I'm not 19. Yeah. The New York Times best-selling list is a mix of John Grisham and Danielle Steele, James Patterson, and then Matt Dinniman of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So it's a lot of familiar names, but also weird romantasy and lit RPG, and just existing in this weird little country club of the top 10 list.
Do you wonder, though, like when they say that, I remember back when I published a book, they're like, the New York Times bestseller list, really, to get on it, you have to sell like 2,000 copies or something like that. So when someone says like the number 1 book, it may be like, yeah, no one's actually reading it. Like, what was the 50 Shades of Grey? Like, everyone was reading that book, so let's not pretend. But other books where you're like, the number 3 book, like, what is that, like 10,000 copies?
Right,
it's probably different now. I'm just saying, it might not be that many.
It's probably not, and but that is different than the USA Today list that every single cozy mystery somehow manages to have topped it at some point in time in their list. Yeah, I feel like that's if you're going by something, that's what people are reading. So, yes. But all right, let's wrap this thing up with chapter 23, hero work at the Western Gate Fortress.
I just wrote down on this. It's almost the second line or something like that. The first line, just a heavy, heavy sigh. And again, I probably pinched my nose and did the. Are we still doing this? The walls were not 90-degree modern construction, perfect edifices. So technically, I was just moving down a very steep 88-degree ramp. Really? We're doing this? Is that a joke of some... What am I supposed to take from that?
Is this a joke?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of, like, when someone says it's a joke, it's kind of like a kid comes up and kicks you in the groin or whatever and runs away with his little pinwheel, and someone else goes like, relax, it's just a joke. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not laughing. So this paragraph, like, come on, it's funny. He said it was 90 degrees, but it's 88. Like, ha, I guess. No, I'm sorry. At this point, it's late in the book. I'm irritated, and I find this stupid and repulsive, and I hate it. So
I feel like it's like people watched in Raiders of the Lost Ark, that the guy swinging his scimitar and Harrison Ford sort of looking at him, looking down at his gun and picking up and shoot him 50 years ago when that was made. And they were sort of like, I can do that. I don't have the charming screen presence of Harrison Ford or the directing ability of Steven Spielberg, but man, I can certainly subvert expectations in my novel with my just as likable hero. Can I? No, you can't. It's a tricky thing to pull off, and it's been done.
All right, so you were not charmed by this. I think you're supposed to be charmed by this, right?
Yeah, because he has leapt off the wall to go fight, but he's sort of done I don't know, I assume that's what the Deadpool movies were, him about to do something heroic and being like, well, that was a bad idea. That's what he's done, leaping off the wall. He breaks his daggers and he hurts himself by doing that.
Okay. Doesn't make me like it anymore. So this is, I believe, the second Roadhouse reference in this book. I think there was another reference to it.
Okay.
Looking around, only Fenris and I were still standing. The other spearman's throat had been torn out while I'd been fighting elsewhere.
Wow, I guess so.
I mean, throats get torn out only in Roadhouse movies, as far as I know.
Correct,
I can't think of any other.
It was the Goblin Cooler Alton who did that.
Yes. Oh, if only he had a second name, we could ram them together with no space between them. That would be fun.
But no, it was Grautuk, the goblin leader, who I think in a previous fan fiction we had that he wanted to let my warg eat your balls.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
How about this one? Here's I think this goes along with our "Is This a Joke" episode of last time, especially considering he was at full health and I had 42 hit points.
Let's just all stop and appreciate how good a joke that is.
So I do believe that is very much I think there was just random references of 42, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy number in Ready Player One. So that's
exactly
nothing gets people more excited than that.
Well, you thought you were laughing before.
At 42, I was. Lauren was concerned how much I was laughing at it.
6 and 7. I think there were some dads around the other day, and I was talking, someone brought that up, and they were doing a hand gesture, and I was like, "Guys, please, I can't even talk about this."
You are really, yeah.
Here's a line from him: "Several things occurred simultaneously." Now, I think that's a joke, but if not, it is good to be reminded that sometimes that's how life works, where several things happen simultaneously. I think he's just padding. I honestly, that again, if we played the "Is it a joke" thing, I don't think you could tell that that's a joke. I guess.
Yeah, that one's like the $1 million round of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's next level analyzing to do on that one.
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but I think it's funny that a writer has to remind you that several things happen simultaneously.
Well, he keeps reminding you which wall of the Western Fortress they're attacking, so I do not believe that he has high opinions of his readers' intelligence, or his own for that matter. He later, soon after that, says regarding the battle, it happened so very quickly, to which how dare you think that anything in this book is happening quickly as you scroll through menu time and boons and stuff like that. Everything has been an utter slog, so to make this battle seem like it's happening quickly is very insulting.
Well, during the battle, by the way, he's riding, I think, toward one of his enemies. And again, people, please, if you need anything filled in, just read the book. You'll be fine. He had a short sword that I suspected was magical. It's good to always suspect that your opponent's short sword is magical. Only suspect it, because that's all you need to do. Because then if it is magical, then you're like, see, I suspected that.
Yeah, Pascal's wager on magic swords.
That's right. You thought you'd pull a short sword on me and you'd go like, oh, is it magical? I don't know. Like, no, I suspected that it was. Son of a bitch, you beat me. You beat me.
I think he has to suspect it because his lore skill is not booned enough to be able to analyze this Goblin King because he's so booned. But it just makes you realize how irrelevant any of that. I went into lore and I saw that because he had long arms, his reach skill was, it's like, none of that. He has a sword, so you're assuming it's magical. You don't need to be like, it happens later when he says he shot him, and then it goes into like, he shot him with a big magic bullet. Then it says he didn't have enough stamina to dodge, and his dodge skill was debooned, so it hit him in the head and killed him. And it's like, well, you didn't need to tell us any of that other RPG bullshit because you shot him and it killed him. So it didn't matter that he had none of the boons necessary to do that.
I mean, just sniff his head, I think, at a certain point and see
there
whether
you
or
go.
not, right? That's all you need to do.
Here's that part. He says, oh yeah, he shoots him. I saw a magical bolt. It was something that he couldn't have reasonably expected me to have, and something that cost a fortune and stamina to dodge. He couldn't afford to. It would have cost 80 stamina to dodge at this range. That was half my stamina pool. He'd been riding hard to get here, and I've been fighting and dodging strikes from my archers. His stamina pool wasn't full by any means. The magic shot exploded against his chest in a fountain of light. So it's like, you know, in the Diddy Mouse scene of the deer hunter, or tossing Hans Gruber off the roof in Die Hard, between those, you know, very visceral visual screen moments, pausing to explain that Hans Gruber didn't have enough cat-like agility to land from that, or that Christopher Walken didn't have enough bullet resistance boons to resist the Diddy Mao Russian roulette game. Awful stuff.
Hang on, let me put it on menu time. I got another joke for you. I'm going to try to sell it. I'll do what I can. Meanwhile, I was armed with a discharged crossbow that was a bit undersized to use as a melee weapon, so I magic shot his ass. Huh?
Magic shot his ass was one of my dumb sentences of the week.
Oh, dang it. Sorry.
I magic shot his ass.
Sorry.
That's fine. Hey, you gotta tell people these dumb sentences you come across them, otherwise we might forget. I believe that is the magic shots that... Oh, no, he keeps fighting. You get this level of description of the battle, which to me was at a see Dick run, Dick run. He slashed at my leg. I cut his shoulder. He cut my thigh. I stabbed his arm. And that keep that in mind, those Dick and Jane primary readers, because their dog does come up later. If you recall what his name was, I somehow know that, even though those were used in like my parents' school level.
Oh yes, that's a payoff.
Big payoff.
Big payoff. Yes, I noticed that I didn't mark it down because I'm like, what is he going for there? I struck his, like, I thought, his balls, obviously.
Right. I think it's just visceral combat, man. It's just, you get into the heat of the moment, and that's just, you don't need that flowery language when it's just raw, brutal combat.
That's true. Again, Hemingway, yeah. Okay, so here's my final thing this is hero work at the Western Gate, right? He gets cut up by this guy, right? They have this fight, and then it says, I just stood there. I could do nothing else. Which is fine, I guess. But after a paragraph, an unrelated paragraph, he explains why he could do nothing else. But I'm like, look, man, you've done nothing but over-explain every goddamn thing in this book. And then all of a sudden you're like, I couldn't move. I had no... And then describes the, like, pursuing Grotuk or whatever the hell it is for a full paragraph, and then going like, I guess I was, my mana was down to 1, and my hit rate and my dodge skills and my warden skills were down. Like, I don't...
Yeah, you're not turning to Bartleby the Scrivener all of a sudden, like, I would prefer not to fight Grotuk anymore.
I just, at that point, I was like, why? You stop for 17 paragraphs and explain every tiny little detail of something, and then instead he's just like, I could do nothing else. For that, I could do no more.
Here I stand, God help me.
Yes. He's at the Dia to Worms all of a sudden. And then he explains later, like, oh, remember when I said that back there and it was kind of heroic? And anyway, I was 25% down and my, like, oh, God, here we go again. And then he just does it. He just goes through the list. Like, I just, like, dumps all the data on you. Like, I wasn't...
Lose. It's either he dumping the data on you or neglecting to do it and giving you just trying to be poetic about it. And it doesn't work either way.
Well, several things occurred simultaneously, so that's good.
That was the name of that Best Picture winner from a couple of years, right? Several things occurring simultaneously all at once.
Yes.
He gave us one more of these informations, which is, I mean, goblin fights are, it's like the tennis and infinite jest at this point in time, but if there's anything you don't know about goblin fights, he still somehow manages to spring new things on you. Goblin fighting relied on stabs in vital locations to reduce mobility, followed by attacks from blind spots. Well, that's good information to have with 10 pages remaining in the book when you've had probably goblin fights in the triple digits at that point in time.
This is supposed to be, I guess, again, put it in the Is It a Joke foundation. I had 11 hit points and 22 points of bleed effects over the next 30 seconds. I was going to die.
I don't know. I think that's sort of a adagio for strings playing. I don't think it's a joke. I think we're supposed to be like, Jim is going to die? Yeah, the Defoe knee fall, I think, is what we're...
Yeah, super slow-mo.
And it's earned. I'll give him that. It is earned at this point.
But is it behind like a big menu screen with like 11 points and him in super slow-mo?
Yeah. Looks like you're suffering a bleed effect. Do you need help with that? But fortunately, there's another woman in this town, not the pretty burly woman. This is a pretty blonde healer. Pushed him aside, opened my mouth, and spit into it. She was really going to town, all but regurgitating a mouthful of something. So she's feeding him like Alicia Silverstone here. Not really explained why that had to happen, but that's... I don't think it's a joke either. When you get something like that happening and he doesn't make a joke about it, you know it's really serious. It's serious times in Noobtown when that happens. Just like how he had a groin injury earlier in the battle and didn't make a joke about it.
Yeah, I know. I put that as a note. Like, come on, man. Your groin is injured. But this comes out of nowhere, right? She's not around. Here's how it actually comes. Maybe, am I missing something? Did she appear earlier? He says, breaking out of menu time, Fenris suddenly rushed over towards me. I don't think you need the S, but whatever. He grabbed me and started pulling a bandage out of his pack, The pretty blonde healer angel pushed him aside and opened my mouth and spit into it.
Mm.
That's the first time we hear of her, right?
It's a powerful first appearance. I'll give it that.
The pretty blonde. So there is she's there.
Mm-hmm.
Not a pretty blonde. The pretty, there is one? She existed already?
It's a lot of things were happening simultaneously. It's hard to keep track of, I think.
I deeply hated that. And then it ends the chapter with, I hated this so much. Mm-hmm. And again, this is probably like a joke to something that I don't get, which is fine. Grandpa hates it anyway. Speaking of get off my lawn. Something that tasted bitter, like healing root, which is capitalized, so I assume that's something. I started chewing the already moist, pulpy mass. Ooh, moist. Sniff. Ooh, words we don't approve of here at 372. The second flavor was something called staunchberry, capitalized. Mm-hmm. I love staunchberry because staunchberry have the effects of bleed damage for a very... They also tasted like raspberries. I slid into unconsciousness. Funny?
I'd say joke, not funny.
Okay. So it is supposed to be a joke.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Supposed to be a joke. I guess we should classify that differently. Supposed to be a joke. Is it a joke? No. There's no setup and there's no punchline, but,
it's not like a reference on snozberries or anything like that. Or...
No, it does call to mind that, however, and that's probably intentional, but it's, it doesn't really have the,
okay.
Doesn't really follow the rules of that reference. Just
okay.
But speaking of funny, the chapter 24, where this goes right into after the Battle of the Western Gate Fortress, does start with a joke, and I'm sure that you've highlighted it. So maybe you can do the honor of reading it.
Oh, after the list? Is the list the joke?
No, after the list. His first words in this chapter.
Oh, I just thought this was more... is this a reference to something? I will read it.
Okay.
I awoke shortly thereafter, much to the surprise of everyone. Well, that sucked, I coughed. I mean,
that was the one that I thought that was his.
Pretty good.
That was his. So that happened adjacent, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very funny. And then she was wearing. Oh, who comes along? Again.
This is J.R.R. the healer.
J.R.R. the healer,
the pretty healing angel.
Oh yes.
Spit into his mouth.
Do you want her stats? Anyone?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. J.R.R. the healer. Alchemist initiate. HP 25, stamina 35, mana 40, alchemy initiate, thought we already had that, but fine, herbalist novice, glassmaker novice, healer novice. Okay, I know what none of that means. So, well, an alchemist talent is someone who has and then it goes on from there. Paragraph after paragraph. But it says this, she was wearing a simple green dress that had seen better days. I'm picturing the seneschal there.
Yep.
Right?
Piling that fabric on his head.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Maybe Seneschal of Noobtown will be the next in the series, and then we can tell that he's gotten wind of us. Yeah. He didn't include all. I thought you meant his actual description of her, not her stats, because he left off some of her stats like bazongas auga, because it goes on to describe her. From what I could tell, she had a bit of a curve on her, despite her recent mistreatment. She had somehow found the means of cleaning her face off, too. She was pretty, possibly even beautiful, but her expression was very serious. She struck me as the kind of girl who wanted to succeed on her own merits and not on her looks. A real no-nonsense kind of girl. So I think if we got any 372 people who are out on the market going on dates, you go with a woman and things are sort of going well. At the end of the night, you tell them, you know what, you look like the type of woman that really wants to succeed on their own merits and not on your looks. Write in and let us know how that goes for you when you tell them that as a compliment.
She's like at the bar ignoring you, and she has like 2 straws and a Long Island iced tea, and she's like, "You're like, I didn't want to dance now. Do you want to dance?" Like, You strike me as someone who wants to succeed on her own merits. What are you even saying? God, I hate you.
She manages to like knock her ring like twice on the glass, and like the bouncer just comes and drags you away. Like, I didn't know she had that power, huh? That's I'm really repulsive.
Why did I walk past that velvet rope? That seems stupid in retrospect.
I just think that we can all agree that this guy describing hot women is something that it's probably good we didn't get more of, because that would have really gone off the rails, I think, if he'd had to do it a bit more.
Yeah, he's flirting with her, right?
Yeah, she's like brushing several long strands of long blonde hair behind her ear as she speaks.
She has bread-making ability, which I don't think there's anything hotter than that. Oh, I'm sorry, it's only novice bread making.
She's trying to get by on her bread-making ability, not her looks, though. I was very badly injured. That does wonders to shut down one's libido. If you're commenting on your libido, it probably hasn't done wonders to shut it down. It's probably raging harder than it has the rest of the book.
Hey, now you were stringing together words there, careful.
Hey, I've been reading Ryan Rimmel so long. He's talking about groins and everything. I am J.R.R. the healer, she said to me almost cutely. Sonic challenge for how you say
challenge.
It.
Damn it.
Yeah.
You said it first.
I invoked it first. I slapped the Family Feud buzzer. I am J.R.R. the healer, she said to me almost cutely.
I am J.R.R. the healer.
Wow, that was almost cute. It sounded tentative and nervous. Almost cute, yeah.
Mostly repulsive, but almost cute. So he says, it was not a problem, I responded. I was too tired to posture or flirt. His kids and insurance, right? He was hit by a truck.
Well, he does say, I was married. I was sort of married. I had vowed till death do us part, and I'm pretty sure I died.
I know. I read that. I was like, you can't undercut that. You can't be flirting. Like, if I go, to a bar and like, well, it was in international waters, honey. I was only, okay, well, you are. We
did put that in our wedding vows. I sort of objected to it in the moment, but I figured, what are the odds?
I was flirting on a disused oil derrick. And what are you going to do? That's our... wedding vows don't extend to that, man.
Isn't he probably got a bank on the fact that his wife's going to show up here at some point in time? When someone dies, it's like, well, they're with their loved one in heaven now. Like he doesn't think he's in hell, and he's not in some special gamer heaven. So at some point in time, I'm sure he expects his wife to show up and start leveling up. So
I would assume, and then his children. What do? Do you just pull like a menu tab up and then they're there? Like, oh shit, guys, hang on. The old lady's here.
Yeah, you have you have a new mission. Go on 2 dates at the same time, like John Ritter.
Hey, my wife is a bread maker. Oh, she's above novice level. Hang on. Get out of here, J.R.R.
Right, and so chapter 25, To the Victor, goes on with more J.R.R. talk, but they're going to leave the Western Fortress and head back to his town. He says they fashioned a cart for the invalids, which J.R.R. prepared to have me loaded onto, but I chose to walk like the badass savior I was. And this is chapter 25. This is 95% through the book. He reminded me of someone. I don't know if you've seen the show Slow Horses. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, with what's his name?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I think I saw like one of the first season ones.
Okay, I've watched them all, but there's a character named Roddy who's he's like the tech hacker, and he's just this is who he reminds me of, just the most pathetic sort of online guy who thinks he's a badass, has a sword collection, dyes his hair blue and thinks that everyone, that he's better than everybody, and every single person immediately can tell that he sucks and is just all talk. Like he got catfished in one of the episodes. So I think if you've seen those shows, that's who I am reminded of as Jim thinks that he's a badass.
Here's my question about this, because I started reading chapter 25 and I just thought, and I'm sure this has come up, and I'm sure this has been a thing, but it just occurred to me, if you were on the staff of the people who writes one of these games, are you happy or unhappy that he's drafting off of this in a way? You know, like if you're a 18-wheeler and there's a car behind you, a foot behind you, drafting off you, apparently it doesn't cost you any gas mileage. It actually gains you. But it used to be the thing. It was like, get off my ass, man. So what he's doing here, like, he's making $1 jillion off someone else's stuff, right?
Correct.
Is he not? He's not creating anything. He's just
he's taking the tropes
he's doing
and the
a walkthrough
established
of a game that
cliches.
someone, like a team of people, is writing, right? So when they do like the leveling up, they go to meetings, and it's like a bunch of people, and he's just like writing it down as like just some dipshit schlub. He brings nothing to the table. They have to be pissed about this. There's no way they're happy. It's not like he's paying us an exposure. Now they know about it. Like, no, they already know about it. And so some a-hole just gets to go and write a series of books that make $8 billion. They have to be pissed, right?
I suppose. I guess it's that sort of thing where it's like, look, if they're making fan art of it, it just means they're doing free advertising for us kind of thing. Like, I guess most people aren't selling their fan art, but... this is video games. It seems like something that obviously should be the most fun thing in the world, and it sounds like utter misery. You work like 110 hours a week. Your people are making more money than you on the lower tier of this. People get laid off and replaced with AI. Then when the game comes out, people are like, Lara Croft's less hot in this one, so I'm coming to your house, man. I'm going to kill you. And it's like, what did I do? Like, this is supposed to be fun. And then, you get, this is the sort of art your thing inspires. I have to imagine that when the great composers, made something, it's like the Velvet Underground. You get all these other inspired people also making great works, and you finish working on Skyrim 7, Back to the Well or whatever, and then you see that this is who you've inspired, and you're like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, like I went to, 7-hour meetings where we said, what if like a warg hits me with the, his tooth on this, but I have this level, like, well... and then someone has to punch it into a computer, and then there's a big whiteboard, and they have to go, well, you get this.
Make things...
And then this dipshit just gets to come in and go, well, let's make it a book.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just struck me as like he's just stealing, and like surely there's a lawsuit in the offing here, right? There should be. This is our IP. This is what we created. We own it, and you're just taking it and putting it into, again, a book.
Well, and then you would just go back to the Tolkien estate, which I think that there's just sayings like, everything fantasy just comes from that. So I don't know. It's in the ether at this point in time, I guess. Just like, that sucked jokes are just, they belong to the masses now.
Well, this is specific, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
right.
Like Tolkien himself stole, I don't know. It was a tribute to the Nordic gods and everything, right? And that whole thing. So he loved that. But he crafted something new from it. This is just like actual numbers.
Right.
That it seems like you could go, well, that's just obviously IP.
Right.
And you're stealing from it. The fact that you put, I got shot in the balls joke doesn't make it a new work.
Right, because if you do steal from everything, and then you add the shot in the balls joke, people are like, well, if this all came from Skyrim 8 Citizens on Patrol, then they must have had the I got shot in the balls line in there too. So
of course. Some guy's like, I wrote that line. It got rejected. I didn't get it. I still have it in my email.
Well, if this is the chapter that inspired your rant here, I understand, because I think it is 2.5 pages of deciding what you're going to level up, because he gets a level up perk, and he levels up warrior and duelist, and then do not fear. He then continues to level up for several more pages after that. Wasn't a ton of notable stuff in there other than the fact that he got a skill cost called Powerful Blow, and somehow we have resisted the temptation there to make a joke. But we do get, I think this is just, if you wanted a line that I would say summed up this book better than any other one in here, it would be this one. I had figured out how to tune out the constant interactions of my improvised tools skill because the world was starting to look like that one scene in the Lego movie.
Oh,
so there you go. Shorthand. I'm not sure people are, I'm not sure that's been universally established the way that you think it has, man. That was,
can't even name the scene. I don't know. You know, look, I'm getting to the end of this thing. You know what I'm saying.
We're all in our 50s and have seen the Lego movie, right? You don't know what I'm talking about. So you neglected not to say it was like that Helm's Deep scene in Lord of the Rings, but then goes ahead and just references a scene in the Lego movie that isn't the everything is awesome scene, which is all I remember.
So he goes over to, right, he's getting his stuff. Does he defeat Grotuk? No, Grotuk.
He defeated Grotuk last chapter. He someone else shot him. with
someone else,
power boon or something. So
okay, so he goes over to whoever he defeats. He had a ring that I obviously took. His sword looked to be of decent quality for a short sword, but not very special aside from that. But I just thought, like, why is it obvious that he took the ring? What if it's a ring that turns you into some balls or something like? And I messaged you about it. Like, if I went over and like he was wearing a watch, like I obviously took his watch. I look at his watch and it's a vintage Timex. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to take that. That's not worth
yes.
That's not worth anything at all. So why does he obviously take his ring? Why is that so obvious?
I think that's just what you do in a video game. You defeat the boss and you take what he drops. I mean,
yeah, but he did his sword. He's like, yeah, piece of crap. I'm not going to take that.
Sure.
But his ring, I obviously took his ring.
Right.
Well, what if the ring and then you put it on and it turns you into, the gecko?
Yeah, that could have been what made him into an evil goblin king.
Yeah.
Look,
so, I don't know.
We're near the end. I like that you didn't even point out that the sentence is actually, he had a ring that I obviously took. His sword looked to be of decent quality because he does not deign to include a period there.
That is true. He didn't want to pick on that.
5-star, 7,000 5 stars. So then he goes with a key that he found to a tower, because if you find a key, you got to go unlock the room that it does. And what does he do? Oh yeah, it's a gross, because the goblins and wargs have been using everything as their own private bathroom, and the stench was overwhelming. It's interesting that the goblins let their wargs use the same area as the bathroom. I would say separate restrooms for my dog, if that. But maybe the goblins are just nasty.
I actually wanted to point something out from our past.
Oh,
goblins and wargs had been using everything as their own private bathroom, and the stench was overwhelming it. So they were second flooring the bathroom.
They were, I'd say.
Would you like to explain what that was?
Well, since you asked, yes. I think there's like a list of Riff Trax shorthand, and at some point in time we were in a very typical Southern California office building. I have no idea what the other residents of this office were, other than at some point in time an enormous industrial office, like secure recycling truck would park out outside and just chug its motor for 2 hours on end as they came and dumped their discs and private records into it. At some point in time, though, on the second floor, they started doing a massive renovation, and so at some point, their bathrooms were out of commission, so they had to start coming down to our bathroom was in the hallway, so it wasn't technically our private thing. They started coming down here, and it quickly became shorthand for if you walked in and someone was in there just wrecking the can or had left it like just smelling revolting, you would blame it on the second floor people from coming down, like the Swindon lot on The Office being like, well, someone just second floored it. Someone was in there second flooring it.
It was almost every time, though, because there was like 50 workers, and it was just, we've gutted the second floor, so we're coming down to your floor. And we're using your open bathroom. It'd be like, I just came in here, like, oh, and then you turn on and walk out. Like, I'll wait for an hour, then you go back in an hour later. Like, it's even worse. How is that possible?
Yeah, so Groutech walks out. The wargs were second flooring it. Give it half an hour. There's no flushing.
Here's something I said to my, because he has a discussion with Shart.
Okay.
Shart got quiet. Sorry, my boy. I like you. I really do. You are like a stupid, ugly, dumb pet. I said that to both my sons constantly.
Yes. You're straightening their bow tie as they're preferring to like walk out on the wedding.
Yeah, look, I like you, man, but
give them a little family heirloom to wear in their boutonniere type of thing.
In fact, I'm going to take this Timex right off my wrist and give it to you, my son.
But so we get this is no mistaking it. No need to play. Is this a joke? We get a setup, punchline, execution here.
Excellent.
He goes into he finds some treasure, some nonsense in this room. It does not pay off in this book because the book is almost over. I'm sure it has a big hang time and pays off in Noobtown 11, The Vicar of Noobtown. The tapestry. Just before stepping out of the room, a tear in a tapestry caught my attention. The tapestry itself hung above the main door to the chambers. It contained a roughly sewn picture of a hot BDSM scene. Not like 50 Shades of Grey either. Like real hardcore shit. The stuff you can only do on Saturday night because you got to take your ass to church right after. Just kidding. It was the field with the town behind it. So that's okay. A crack the knuckles. Honey, pour me a martini. I just nailed my writing for today.
Remember, HarperCollins has been interested. They've been sniffing around, honey. I like that word. Hang on. I'll put that in here.
You know, they have the saying, kill your darlings. Like,
yes.
You know, we've been writing for this Mystery Science Theater project, and sometimes you're like, oh, this one, I did a little too extra here. I got to trim this back. Oh, it's a shame because this is really funny, but like no one's going to know what you left behind on the floor as long as it's there. And I think that he just couldn't kill his darlings, man. He knew this was so good, but it was so wildly out of place. He could have just left it there. And I don't know, the extended edition when his grandsons are publishing this in 70 years from now with illuminated illustrations, they could have been like, this is what Grandpa left behind. And for the first time, we present to you Noobtown, how it was his original vision. And they'd been like, oh, the 50 Shades part. Did you get to that part yet? Oh, he referenced a contemporary book. But he just couldn't bring himself to do it.
The living like the About a Boy life of Hugh Grant. It's just like, I don't even, I just play video games and occasionally republish The Mayor of Noobtown with a couple extra lines in it. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
Here's a line. I want you to try to peg again. What year was this written?
Ooh.
Because he's looking around, he sees the thing, he's got the good joke, he just decided. I, of course, knew the term ricasso because, ellipses, reasons.
Oh, man.
What year was this written?
That is truly revolting, just to see that. I mean, that's revolting enough to see. It's wormed its way into every facet of online writing, I would say. It's not just a Tumblr or Reddit comment, but to see it in what will be printed in a matter of weeks is just deeply unsettling, you know? It's like imagining your grandparents doing it. That's the only way to put it. Like,
yeah. Can you imagine the guy like at the actual factory, you know, he's got the ear protection on because the presses are going away. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Churning this thing out like by the boxes, and he's taping them up, and then he opens it up and sees, I of course knew the term ricasso because reasons, and would just be like, what am I doing here? Just immediately resigns and heads out to his car and drives home to his family and gives them a hug.
Yeah,
I've been doing everything wrong. I'm sorry. I'm home now and I'm with you.
Well, it's like if the Japanese soldiers who didn't realize the war had ended 30 years later, imagine if you had never logged on. If you were just a salt of the earth guy that was like, listen, I keep my head down, I do my work, I go home to my family. If you had never been online for the past 20 years, you'd be like, hey, I was just reading Mayor of Noobtown. Are people? Did I miss like a gigantic shift in like people's intelligence and the way they talk? Like, are we in idiocracy now? And is this what's going on? Like, Let's go into the basement. I've got a prepper kit for 5 years. We can just live that out and make sure that we don't interact with anyone else in the world if this is how people are talking.
Down, we can easily live this out, man. We don't need to. Here's for HarperCollins. I just want them to, know what they're up against. And again, earmuffs for the children. I'm just quoting here. Forgive me. This is not my words. The air outside smelled of crisp mountain breezes and the sea. I inhaled deep lungfuls, trying to clear them of the scent of shit. The editor, crisp mountain breezes, kind of cliche. And the sea, you probably add a word there, an adjective that would make that. Inhale deep lungfuls, not good, but what are you going to do? Clear them of the scent of shit. Oh, no. What? Dang it.
Stat the shit, says Rimmel.
What have I gotten myself into? You're almost done with the book.
Oh, we certainly are. Yeah, I think he got to the point where he had the groin injury, and so I think that worked as a joke because he mentioned groin. I think he did just say I could make out whether they were poison or warg feces, and I think just mentioning feces or shit is standing in as a joke as well.
Yeah, I think it's, in 80s comedy, they used to say, if you're, saying the F word, you're losing, you're not.
Huh.
Just try to, find a different way to, if you can't be funny without it, because, but then you'd see people break down. It would be like, what the? Or oh, dang, they lost it.
Sure.
They were being funny. They couldn't take it anymore. That's the end of that chapter for me.
It ends with a major reveal, yeah, and it's a joke. It is it's a payoff on jokes, really. He spots J.R.R. the healer who spit into his mouth earlier. Mm-hmm. I smiled, walking towards the sound and spotted J.R.R. picking up a small dog. Yes, she blushed prettily. Jim, this is my dog, Jim. And so if you were wondering whether that whole thing of people being like, Jim, that's a silly name, was worth the long walk, here we go. Chapter 26 starts thusly. After we left, I made some inquiries of the townspeople and found that Jim was a name they gave to little dogs. It wasn't like naming your dog Carl or Mark. It was like naming your dog Spot. My name was this place's equivalent to Spot. If that wasn't going to make it hard to be taken seriously, I didn't know what was. So just... when something's worth the long walk, it just is so satisfying. He had a lot of balls in the air.
This one left me, so I was enraged at this. Okay, the end of the chapter, her dog's name was Jim. Okay, it makes you go all right, whatever. Then, all right, let's start the new chapter. Forget that ever happened. That
sure.
Was a nightmare. Then a full paragraph. It would be like telling someone, hey, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. See, normally you would think that I would say something else, that the chicken was doing something, that there was some sort of expectation for you to think about chickens. You'd be like, oh, maybe a chicken needed to do something. No.
Eggs.
My thing takes your thing. But then I wrote that all down and gave it to you. You'd go get the hell away from me. I hate you so much. That's what this is. Yes, I understand. It was like naming your dog Spot. He says 14 sentences later. Yeah. You already milked this, dude. You don't get to squeeze the rag anymore on this. I hated this.
J.R.R. the healer squeezing the rag right into his mouth, by the way. That's how that works. Also, in terms of the kill your darlings thing, it's okay, Rimmel, this is great. Obviously, this is going to sell 1 million copies. We're all going to leave this room much richer. You got to pick one silly name joke because you named the goblin Shart and you named the warg Chode, but now you're doing this whole Jim as a dog's name thing. So we just really think that just to make sure that we don't lessen the impact of the, again, hilarious, ribald, high-level silly name jokes, you got to pick one. No, they're both in. Jim's a dog's name, and the warg is named Chode.
I I mean, we love them all, right? Right? I think, Karen, you like it. Jenny likes it. I think everyone in this room loves it. We're just thinking, like, and he pushes his chair deliberately away from the table, go to hell, all of you. I have sold more than you ever have. Yeah. The sun also rises. This chode also leaves this room. Oh, God. All right.
Did he just call himself? He called himself the chode? I just want to make sure once he's like, yes, I called myself a chode. I'm a warg. Guess he was still listening. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. He got to help Fenris find his family, and everyone is leaving. He says, J.R.R. the healer gets some more herbs. The ones that were freshly picked tasted much better than the ones stored in goblin pouches, especially if you considered that the goblins typically stored the pouches under their loincloths. So that's nice. And so they're going to Noobtown. People are excited that it has a magical barrier. Some of them wept openly at that news.
And then we get this joke. The end of the chapter ends with a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you don't need to laugh at this joke. I'm just telling you it is a joke. The mayor is named Jim, said nearly everyone in unison. The nearly caught my eye. Who were the holdouts on this? Right? We've got Fenris.
J.R.R. was spitting into their mouths, and they're like, oh, they couldn't actually articulate it.
We've got J.R.R., Otto Sherman, Fenris. There's not that many people, but nearly everyone. So someone. So it was kind of like that famous picture of the Nazis all saluting, and the one guy standing with his arms like this, like, I'm not going to do it. So someone was holding out. Maybe more than one. Nearly everyone. When there's only like 5 people.
Yeah, Dale Elm Courtney is spitting in disgust at this nearly everyone in unison, because that is antithesis of moon people. But I believe there's about 80 people that he rescued here.
Does he say 80?
3 or 4 of them are named. So, like, yeah, it's
Oh, okay. They push them in wheelbarrows or whatever. Where does he say 80 though?
The next chapter, I showed my 87 new neighbors.
He says it in the next chapter. Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, but yeah, it's yeah.
Okay.
I liked not knowing how many people there were.
He describes only like Sulita and Fenris. They're all going back, and so nearly everyone said that in unison, but not everyone. So anyway.
Right, yeah. And 87, not one of our funnier numbers. What are you doing, man? Like.
6,
I guess
7, funny.
He's burned
87.
through them. He wasted a 69 on a mere hit point joke, so that's...
Yeah, I know.
All right. Chapter 27 is the last chapter. He's been tasked with finding Fenris's family. You'll never guess that Fenris's family is Ava Sophia and the 2 kids that he has taken into Noobtown and given a pet warg. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have guessed that because I sort of forgot about those characters. But
Fenris named his son Joe Clarence, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
His wife, Ava Sophia, and his daughter, Eve Sophia. Still, I'm sure that's a joke I'm not getting. That's fine. Again, a joke.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you. This is the only thing I had. At this point, I was fairly frustrated. They talk about Kappa?
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell is Kappa?
Well,
I shook my head at Kappa and gestured for him to go out the back. Who is Kappa?
Kappa is the warg he domesticated, and it plows Ava Sophia's field.
The plow warg.
Yes, plow warg. That'll be the name of their next kid.
Okay, so Kappa's just mentioned twice in this chapter, like, Kappa. And then everyone throws their heads back, and Kappa's like, I'll go out back, I guess. Is that what we're supposed to be?
Is he sleeping in my bed? I'm like, oh, Kappa. Yeah. He says, like, I wasn't sure how he was going to respond to his new pet, but...
Kappa's like there, like eating soup out of a can over the sink, like, Kappa. Oh, you guys are back? I didn't hear you.
It's well, when you don't really plan this out and sort of just write without knowing what you're doing or having a writing ability, sometimes you get characters that never really establish themselves, and you've got to sort of try to tie them in at the end of the thing. I'm going to read the end of the book because I think it's important for people who didn't read along, who made the wise decision.
Everyone is reading along. Everyone who's listening to this has.
Everyone who's reading is going to go on with the series because they have been told that maybe 3 or 4 books in, if you're listening to the audio version, the guy who's narrating them does a good enough job that you want to stick with them. I cannot believe that someone would finish this and think that I am going to spend money on these things and my valuable moments here on Earth reading the rest of this. It boggles my mind.
Yes.
But here's how this one ends. You saved my family and brought everyone else here to safety, Fenris asked. Why? And I think these are thoughts he's having. Because I am the mayor around here? Because I'm a goddamn legend? Because you are a heartless asshole who won't even open one little demon door, whispered Shart through our bond. Because no one fucks with the mayor of Noobtown. The end. For now. And I bet that sounded really cool in his head, is all I have to say about that.
Did it, though?
Did it? It's the only time Noobtown is mentioned in the book. It's like no one has identified it as Noobtown except for the chapter heading. So that's they're like, Noobtown? Why, that's the name of our, that's what we call our pet rabbit. Ha, ha, ha. I don't know.
Is that the first time that Noobtown is said out loud?
Uh-huh. Yeah, if you search for Noobtown, it's only in the table of contents and then in the chapter heading for chapter 27, The Mayor of Noobtown.
Wow,
so.
okay. Because I try to only watch movies in which characters in the movie say the title of the movie. Otherwise, it seems like a waste to me. Like, I haven't seen a movie since The Perfect Storm because I knew that at some point someone said, this seems like The Perfect Storm.
Yeah. I think the turn to the camera as he delivered that line was very much implied, too.
Yeah, the end. The last 3 words are the title. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Well, the end for now. And then is the thank you for reading, am I supposed to say that on another page?
No,
I have that right as the same.
Yeah, it's right there.
Get ready for Jim's... Jim! Right? That's what I call Spot.
You saved one more laugh for the last sentence.
Continuing adventures in the next book, The Village of Noobs.
Oh, man. A whole village of noobs. I don't know if I could take it. That's
What's
too
the
noob-tastic.
difference between Noobtown and the Village of Noobs?
I guess now that, what makes a house a home?
Yeah, that's true. Wow. Wise words.
My God.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, but we got to read some dumb sentences, and then we got to figure out where this ranks in the canon.
Dumb, 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 dumb sentence of the week.
All right. These are the dumb sentences of the week submitted by our beloved Patreon jackals over at patreon.com/372 pages. Find out what's coming next. The first ones to find out are the jackals. So they're quite warg-like, those jackals. Dumb sentences. Chap, I considered that briefly. He says the whole book is a parking lot filled with speed bumps like this. Mike said, each and every one claimed they could feel it as they stepped through. That's referring to the magical protective gate on Noobtown. And he says, was he so skeptical of their claim of a feeling that he insisted every one of them affirmatively state that they experienced the sensation? You'd think at some point he would just take them as a given and let them know they could keep the feeling to themselves. And Mike also pointed out, he had a backup one. Suddenly, the man with the sword vanished as the warg grabbed his leg. And Mike asked, did he suddenly vanish, or did it happen as another observable action happened? Pick. I guess a lot of things were happening simultaneously. Who can keep track? Nathan and Catherine both submitted, if it grows in nature, it must be good for you, I thought, and started chewing on it. And they said, hemlock and funeral bells might not be the most common knowledge, but even stupid Jim has to know about poison ivy. Claire submitted, each handhold was more secure than any climbing wall I'd ever been on. And she wondered, was Jim frequenting janky climbing gyms in his former life? I've never in my life been on a climbing wall and thought the handholds were unsecure. Which is a very good point. Andrew submitted, that 21 minutes represented the amount of herbs I had eaten. And he says, I think the 21 minutes represents the time you spent sprinting to the fortress. But Henry submitted, she blushed prettily. And he said, I would have submitted something from the BDSM tapestry section, but I think the right thing to do there is hit the bottle until I forget I ever read it. Good point. Jay submitted, get ready for Jim's continuing adventures in the next book, The Village of Noobtown. He said, they got to be the dumbest sentence of the entire book because there's nothing that would make me read another page of lit RPG after this. Mark submitted, I am J.R.R. the healer, she said to me almost cutely. Well, Sonic challenged by you. Alex submitted, the mayor is named Jim, said nearly everyone in unison, and said it's just too much of a 372 sentence to not pick it. Jens and Adam both submitted it stood nearly 80 feet tall on the western side, which was a wall with the makings of a portcullis on it. I think Adam said, why would you say it has the makings of a portcullis if there is actually of a portcullis? And that was Jens, sorry. Harrison submitted, I guess that it was a difference in breeding and that this particular breed could actually climb the badly cracked portion of the wall. He said, you just explained for the third time that they're bred differently for various abilities. What is wrong with you? Kara submitted, in case you are wondering, it felt like a demon playing around with my soul, and not in a good way. She said, between this and Shart's imaginary harem, demons playing with your soul is a spectrum, I guess. John submitted, that might prove to be interesting in the next battle. He says his tendency to hedge every description has collided with his other tendency to call every boring thing interesting. At least this feels more honest now. Is it interesting? No. Might it prove to be interesting? Well, technically it might. Who's to say? Hayden submitted, I had figured out how to tune out the constant interactions of my improvised tool skill because the world was starting to look like that one scene in the Lego movie. And Hayden said, there is no human on earth that knows what you're talking about. There could be like an 11-year-old that might have watched that a dozen times growing up, many back-to-back viewings of it.
But what's the one? Well, never mind.
Nobody knows. That's the thing. Like, what? Okay. I mean, no one even wrote in to clarify what he was talking about there. Okay. Kate submitted, while I didn't recognize the herb, I had gardened before. And she said, how does this Homer Simpson logic carry? While I didn't recognize the language on the signs in the alien spaceship, I had read things before. That was all the dumb sentences. I've got a couple. How about, I heard the sword land somewhere on the walkway as I grabbed the edge of the wall to avoid falling 30 into the courtyard.
What?
Yeah, if you can avoid falling 30, you better avoid falling 30 because that's just not something anyone wants to deal with.
Points?
30 points, 30 feet, 30 meters, 30 something. The unit is not present.
All right. I just have the one, and I'm just reiterating it. I, of course, knew the term ricasso because reasons. So dumb that it needed a second bite at that apple.
I agree. It is, I don't know. That's the sort of thing, though. If we're in the course of reading this book, we realize that saying suddenly this happened was just a crutch you can lay on. I'm sure there's been other things we pointed out to people. Nobody should need to be told that you don't write like that in a book, that it's embarrassing and childish, but then again, here we are. So
well, that's when I said you had the not thing, right? Right. When I told Bridget that, I was like, I suddenly became insecure. I'm like, there's no way this is in here. I checked, like, maybe somehow it got it. I actually couldn't believe that someone, like, there is no possible way this is in there. But it is. It is.
All right. Let's find out where this lies in the canon. And unless you have objections, I'm just going to ask you if books are better or worse than it.
Yeah, let's do it. That's a good way to do it.
Because this is, I think this has got to be at the bottom, but let's just test that. I think that we can rule out anything Ernest Cline written. I think that they're better than this.
I think that's true. I think I have only one controversial thing, but we'll see.
all right.
We get to it. Just go through all of them. And
So Ready Player One, Armada, The Eye of Argon, of course that's better than this.
Of course.
Tech War, yeah, it's better than this.
Yes.
The Forensic Certified Public Accountant of the Cremated 64 Squares financial statements.
Way more fun. So
Sure, I think
yes. So
easier to
better
read.
in the sense that it made for better comedy because it was more fun.
And, it didn't have because reasons in it. The guy had his own voice and sort of childlike optimism about the world.
He was doing something different. Whether you like it or not is a different thing.
Right. It was outsider art. Season 6, Bob Honey Who Just Do Stuff by recent Oscar winner, Pappy Pariah.
Here's my controversial thing. I think this is worse than that.
Okay.
And the reason why is because, look, I'm not reading it now as one reason, let's be honest. If I was reading it, I would be like, oh, God, this is such a slog. But that was at least based on other writers like Charles Bukowski and stuff, things that were recognizable. Like, he's terrible and he's trying for something. It's awful. I don't like it at all. But this guy can't even be bothered to read anything. He's just playing a video game and then going, here's what I thought a video game looked like, so I'm writing that down.
Correct.
So I'm going to say it's worse than that, even though I hate that other book more than I hate anything on Earth. But I think this is worse than that. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so. Was there an attempt made at something other than because reasons? And that is when you can say that. Did it work? It didn't work. We didn't like it.
I didn't like it at all. But
I bet it was also half the word count of this too. So
yeah, well, there is that.
This just has so much unreadable pages and pages of boons that is just, there's nothing to gain from it, and there's no enjoyment to be had by seeing what he's leveling up, and that is a massive strike against it. Even if that wasn't there, the because reasons type of humor would be tricky, but that is just so hard. All right, so The Mister, of course not. Trucking Through Time is of course better.
Oh, of course better.
Lair of the White Worm, I mean, of course it's better. Shadow Moon, I remember that being horrible. I don't think it's this horrible.
But this is so low effort that it's hard to, like, I guess if you're going into the basement and you're looking at things that are under a rock that you found in the basement, this would be the thing that scurries away quicker. I don't know.
Wow, there's a blurb. HarperCollins, if you're looking. And that is another point against it, too. If this was like some of those cozy mysteries we reread where it's like, 21 reviews of I'll Be Home for Christmas written by just a nice seeming woman who enjoys knitting. It's like, well, okay, like that's fine. But the fact that it is cynically being trotted out to capitalize on this wave is another point against it, because it's being...
It truly is. It truly is. Because, like, just a nice woman who's sitting home and like, I don't know, now the kids are gone and the house is empty. I'm just going to write about knitting. You would be like, I don't know, grading on a curve. Like, it's not anything I would read, but it doesn't make me angry like this.
Yeah, you're not going to be like, go to hell, Grandma. Like,
yeah.
But okay, so Moon People, better than Noobtown.
Oh, yes.
Digital Fortress, certainly sexier than Noobtown with Susan Fletcher. Easier to read for sure. Yeah. My Immortal, certainly more fun.
I think so. Way more.
Midnight Sun, that was the Twilight from the vampire's perspective. That one was rough.
Ooh, that was tough reading, but
yeah.
Again, if it were in front of me, I would go, what is this garbage? But it's not in front of me, so I'm going to go, this is below that.
Yeah. Edward leveled up in blood sniffing, sorry. Ready Player 2, better than this. Quilter's Pushback, definitely better than this. Model Land, certainly. Speaking of trying something, just swinging for the fences and missing.